to another episode of the world's greatest news and reviews. I am Captain Mal.
And I'm your boy, T-Crawler.
I'm Weapon 2, and hives of scum and villainy, I've seen the worst. So if you're going to come at me like Greedo, you know I'll always shoot first.
Damn. How do you come up with incredibly original, witty shit to say every podcast?
I was born that way.
You're just naturally talented. But greetings, dear viewers. Thank you for joining us on the 9th episode of the world's greatest podcast. And if you're watching us on the YouTubes, yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We have another special guest.
What?
Some dude just showed up and sat at the table. I don't know. We gave him some headphones. Hey, who the hell are you, sir?
My name is Harry Blackstone Copperfield Dresden. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Nice.
Dresden for short, though.
Nice.
And I'm just saying, after this, your podcast will be on fire, and it will be my fault.
Thank you, special guest H. Dresden, long-awaited guest and friend of the show, friend to all of us here. We've been waiting a long time to have you on the show. How the hell are you? How are you feeling? Are you happy to be here?
I feel like, first of all, friend is a strong word.
Yeah, I know.
And also, I'm excited to be here.
Sometimes friend's not strong enough, though.
It's true. You know,
I did feel I was overcompensating with the word friend. This is totally my bad.
I get it. Sorry.
Thank you for coming.
Significant acquaintance.
Oh, shit.
Are you excited to be here?
I am thrilled to be here, and legitimately to have my friends here to talk about some nerd shit. It sounds amazing to me, and I'm on board.
It's going to be so much fun.
Fortunately, I have this Coca-Cola, which will help disinhibit me.
This incredibly dark Coca-Cola.
Right? Exactly. It's going to be wonderful.
Mine's a Dr. Pim.
Dr. Pip, he's not actually a medical doctor, but he will make you feel better, I promise.
Ooh, I don't know what that's all about. But, gentlemen, I dare say we are going to have an incredibly good podcast, considering if we're still going. I feel like we're still going. Yeah, we're still going. Hey! We're still going. We're going to have a great podcast.
I have to say something.
What do you have to say?
I want everybody in the internets, the world of the internets, to understand we had Thor, the god of thunder.
Oh, mighty
sent
thunderer.
lightning to blow up Harvey's computer.
It did, yeah.
So we're working on a backup Frankenstein computer. So if it looks like we're getting panicked at certain times when we hear weird stuff,
Like just now.
and we go, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
It's because we are. We're a little scared.
But you know what we are? We're goddamn professionals. The show will keep rolling. The gods themselves shall not stop the
show
world's greatest production.
Must go on.
As an outside voice, I'd like to say that we are willing to put our own opinions about our quality against that of the gods. So that's cool, which I think is important.
Ah, this is going to be a fun podcast, huh? Okay, so let's move right on to shout-outs and to the polls. And our boy T-Crawler has joined us after being absent the last podcast. I know a lot of you top fans were really, really sad that he was not part of it. But T-Crawler, I feel like you haven't been on a video in a
He missed
while.
his pencil-thin mustache.
Yeah, pencil-thin mustache.
Finally, T-Crawler has come back to the world's greatest podcast.
It's a PTM.
That's right. Many of you, TWG Nation, let me tell you, a lot of you already knew that I was absent. But if you didn't know by just looking and seeing that I wasn't in the chair, Captain Mal made it very clear that I was not here.
I was a little hurt by your absence, yes.
I think he really, 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 really missed me.
I missed my boo.
Do you think
As a fan, I was disappointed.
do you think I put enough reallys in there?
Really?
It doesn't matter what you think. But what does matter is that Captain Mal talked a lot of shit about your boy T-Crawler, and I'm here to clear some of that stuff up right now. So, but as you know, Weapon 2 and our guest at the time, General Thaddeus, they were actually giving me the benefit of a doubt. They were saying, you know what, maybe you're saving the world. Not Captain Mal. He's like, no, he's not doing that.
Were you saving the world?
I was saving the world from casuals. One casual at a time.
Okay, well,
So
I mean, were you encountering casuals where you were? Wherever it was you were
you know what?
at.
You
Where
encounter
were
casuals.
you going for casuals? How
you're-
much did you pay for said casuals, and where could I get some?
Was this like a role-playing situation? I'm just curious. I want to know.
You don't have to go very far for casuals,
Is
really.
it is it a place
Okay.
on Lake City Way? I think I know it.
Here's $50. Call me T-Crawler.
And also, there's like the girlfriend experience, and then there's the hero
Were there
experience,
level?
which
Yeah,
is the
were there
next one
tiers?
up. Exactly.
I didn't know the hero
costs you
experience was
extra.
an option. This is great.
I don't know, but now you do.
Jeez. But you know what? As I was talking, as I was saying,
Right.
Captain Mal even went so far as to say he was carrying my load, which, you know what? That's
Phrasing.
Yeah. He didn't say that at the time, but I just want him to know that if any other time you want to carry my load, you know what? Anytime. Just say those 4 magic words and you can carry my load anytime you like.
You know I will, because it's such an easy, incredibly tiny, minuscule load to carry. So
Oh, look at this.
I feel like you have a lot of experience with that. Talk more about that.
For those that are trying to figure out what those 4 words are, it's just, can I carry it? So get your minds out the gutter. Anyway, so moving on.
are we gonna do polls, or are you just gonna talk
Hey,
shit the whole time?
I want my time to talk. I
Okay,
wasn't
fine.
here last time.
You were welcome to be here last time.
I had stuff to do. I was saving the world against from
You can't
casuals.
make up a whole podcast worth of talking on this one.
Hey.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like we're gonna have a
Can
lot
I
of
have
shit
my
to say.
time? Can I have my time?
Sure.
Okay. Can I talk? Can I finish?
No,
Can I-
go ahead.
You're awful needy.
Yeah, you needy bitch.
If your question is, can you talk? My
You're
answer
an-
would be yes.
you're an
Because you're doing a
attention
good job.
whore.
I'm proud of you.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so here we go. I just want to say, Captain Mouse says that, you know what, T Crawler doesn't give enough. And I don't shout out enough top fans. But you know what, I do 5 at a time, and there's a certain reason why I do that. I do that so, you know what, I take less time. Even though today I took quite a bit of time. But you know what, I want to give the newer top fans some recognition and some congratulations for getting to that top fan status. So here we're gonna go with my 5 top fans for today. All right, so
Is this in your list of your favorite top fans?
not favorite, just
Okay.
top fans, and I'm gonna go with the newer ones. So that's what I like.
Top
to do.
5.
All right.
T Crawler's top 5. Top 5.
You can garner favors to be on his top 5 top fan list, by the way. I'm not gonna say how.
Anyway, so we got let's see, Candace Kriebel. She's been a top fan for 2 weeks.
Nice.
And you know what? I want to say that with this top 5, you're gonna notice there's more female nerds out there, which we love. We thank you for joining the page and commenting and reacting to our stuff. It's awesome. So Candace Kriebel, 2 weeks. We have Mickey Vela. It's 2 weeks. He's 2 weeks as a top fan. Derek Scheib, 3 weeks as a top fan. Tim Nitcher, and then Justin Duffy is 4 weeks. Tim
Nice.
Nitcher.
Nice.
Those are our top fans, guys. So
Perfect. Hey, I have a cautionary tale.
what's up?
Hailstorm ran into a situation where she's been kicked off of TWG, and we couldn't figure out why. She can't like anything. She can't do anything. We looked it up, and in Facebook, if you like things too fast on too many pages,
They think you're a robot.
They will put you in Facebook jail, and she has not even been able to
Oh wow.
Right?
do anything on the page.
Right.
Cautionary tale.
This is a
Be careful. Don't become a robot because we all hate robots.
This is a cautionary
Robots.
tale about loyalty. And if you like TWG, you should like only TWG.
But just do it slowly.
Just being
slowly.
a floozy.
Just
She's
slow
all
it
over the
down.
place.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Right.
You just slanging likes out there
Jeez.
to any entertainment page and website?
Exactly.
Tasha. I mean,
Exactly.
You know what I
Hailstorm.
think it is? She finally became a top fan, and now she's addicted to that. She wants to be a top fan on all these other pages.
Maybe that's the case.
Also, she's got the $6 million woman reflexes, like as she's liking things. It's happening so fast, you can't keep up.
Okay,
Facebook.
so the other part after top fans, we just do some shout outs. And these are shout outs for just members of the page. So we got Jared and Dodge. Let's see, Rochelle Trout.
Rochelle Trout. Oh,
Michelle
shit.
Trout.
Jill
I think
Cab-
I've met her somewhere.
We got
Yeah.
Jill Cabena, Deb Kindinger, and Michaela Rowe.
Oh, new fans.
You people are awesome. Thanks.
It's true.
Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. Thanks for joining the nation.
And to you women out there, thank you for liking and subscribing. It means the world to us.
Yes.
We need more ladies to follow this 2-bit operation.
So,
Thank
all right,
you for
so-
suspending judgment. We appreciate it.
do you have any shout outs that you want to put out there?
I just like to shout out to my friends that do this channel because it's so amazing, and I can't believe they invited me here, and I'm going to just try not to ruin it.
All the feels. All the feels.
Right here, and where my heart would be.
Harry
Cold-
Dresden.
If I-
Dresden.
If
my
I
heart
had
would be.
if I
in
had
the
a soul,
cold
it would
vacuum,
be
in
loving
the
it right
cold
now.
vacuum where my heart exists. It's slightly warmer than absolute zero. Exactly. It's true.
All right.
All right, so now we go to the part of we're going to do the polls. And again, I have to clarify something. You know, I don't do the description of the polls. I just take it straight from the Facebook and I give it to the citizens. I give it to you citizens, the TWG Nation, and here we go with some of the polls we have. So we have Juggernaut. Okay, so we have 2 powered villains, the Juggernaut versus Black Adam. This was a poll that was put up, and what do you guys think on this one?
Black Adam all day.
Black Adam
no
all day.
fucking
I
way
voted Black
Juggernaut has a chance in this fight.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know that Black Adam's gonna have an easy time killing Juggernaut, but to win the fight, yeah, he's got that.
He would
Yeah.
stop him. He would knock him
Exactly.
down.
It's
And
either going to be battlefield removal or it's going
Like-
to he's knocking him out.
Yes,
Exactly.
Juggernaut would keep
Yep.
getting back up and shit.
Right, exactly, which is a lot to deal with.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can't just hit him with lightning. Some
No.
people said lightning, but I mean, Storm has fought Juggernaut and hit him with lightning. It hasn't affected him, so you're gonna have to do some.
It's supposed to be the unstoppable force, so yeah, you're gonna have to give it to him.
But Black Adam is one of those that I feel his power level is so much higher than Juggernaut's, right? So I went back and rewatched an episode of X-Men, the animated series, when Juggernaut dared to swing on Gladiator. And that did not go very well for
Exactly.
Juggernaut
Yeah.
at all. And that's kind of how I see someone in Black Adam's level dealing with him.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
It would be exciting though.
Oh, it'd be fun. I would pay good money to watch that.
You guys are pretty much right. It was a landslide. Black Adam won by 62%. So Juggernaut only had 38% of that vote. Okay, here's another one. You got Green Lantern, Hal Jordan versus the formidable alien opponent of Super Skrull.
I don't remember who I voted for.
I think I went Green
I
Lantern.
went Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Probably
on
went
that
Green
too.
Lantern.
Absolutely. Super Scrolls are impressive, but I mean, like Green Lantern, like Power Cosmic, like he's got that shit down.
Right.
Like he's gonna do all right. I mean, like
Yeah.
seriously. So that's what I thought. Not Power Cosmic, but whatever the Green Lantern version.
The ring, the lantern power.
Exactly.
Power
Yeah, Lantern
will.
Power. That's what it is. Yep.
Okay.
What was the voting on that?
That was, another landslide. Green Lantern was 75%. Super Skrull's only 25%.
That might also be like a popularity thing. I feel like not a lot of people know
there's
Super
always gonna be
Skrull,
a
Super
little-
but
Scroll, yeah, I mean he's impressive, but like I mean Green Lantern's like just a half step below Superman, right? I mean honestly,
He
like,
can hang in a fight for a
yeah,
minute.
But
exactly,
wait till
yeah.
Super Skrull gets introduced into the MCU.
Everybody knows who he
That's
is.
happy, right?
Oh boy, yeah.
Exactly.
We've said that before. A lot of it's popularity. So here goes a good one for some of your deeper, the fans that are go a little deeper. We have Constantine versus Nightmare. Now Constantine they say he has 1 week of prep time against Nightmare.
I feel like Constantine with prep time is incredibly dangerous. Like if this were just a straight up fight out of nowhere, maybe this would go differently. But a week of prep time is like an eternity for somebody like Constantine,
Right.
and he would have everything like down to the second as to how he was going to
What
deal
about
with
5
anyone.
5 days of prep time?
I feel like that would still be about
It'd still be
80%
a
enough
Four,
time.
4.5 days.
You know, if you're just going to keep whittling it down to nonsense,
what are you
sir,
auctioning here?
I'm just saying.
Get a 5. Let me get a 5. Let me get a 4. Let me get a 4. Let me get a 4. 3. 2 days.
3 days is exactly enough time that Constantine needs to
Micro
handle the
machines.
nightmare. Yeah, no, prep time at all. I feel like Constantine's got it. So, what do you think, H. Dresden?
Honestly, I don't know much about Nightmare, so I have no real opinion about it. I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of Hellblazer, but I don't know much about Nightmare, so I don't know. What
Fair
to
enough. Weapon
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
I don't even remember who I voted for on this one. I would.
Well, damn,
I'm
you guys are
going
giving me a
to
lot
go-
today.
I might have voted for Nightmare on this one.
Wow. T. Crawler?
I voted for Constantine because I don't know much about Nightmare. Straight
All right.
up. Yeah.
That's why I didn't vote, because I didn't know anything. I wanted to be an informed.
I don't know very much about it
Being
either. I
informed.
think I might have looked something up on Nightmare. I don't know. But.
I think I did too, and I don't remember what I read. So that's what makes
Did
me
you
think
say
I
I'm
just didn't
assuming
vote.
landslide, Constantine?
Oh, I didn't give you the guys. Yeah, it's sorry. Where was it?
Oh,
It was-
no.
This is why we can't have nice
Sort
things,
yourself
guys. This is
out.
why we can't have nice
Sorry,
things.
yeah, it's landslide. 81%
All
Constantine.
right, that's about
I mean,
right.
if it's gonna be like the most likely to like have sex with new wave girls, it's gonna be Constantine. So I mean, there's that,
Pretty suave.
right? I mean,
English
he's
accent and all.
like exactly.
Okay, so we got another one here. It's Tolkien's Dragon versus Martin. J.J.R. Martin. What is it? J.J.
George R.R.
George
Martin.
R.R.
Right,
yes.
yep.
Martin's battle dragon. It's a dragon battle. Smog
Right.
versus
Drogon.
So my
Yep.
only thing is, this is a fine battle, right? I really feel like it should have been Smog versus Balerion the Black Dread, but that's just me. H.
I guess
Dresden,
you'll have to. I
H.
guess you'll have to
Dresden,
make more polls, won't you?
H. Dresden, what do you think?
Because that was my poll.
Okay, so Balerion the Black Dread, like there are orders of magnitude and difference between him and like Smog. I feel like Smog and Drogon are probably somewhat on the same level, and I'm just gonna give it to Smog because he is the chiefest of all calamities. I mean that like per the premier linguist of our time, he is the chiefest of all calamities. That's a strong endorsement. But yeah, so yeah, I would give it to Smog.
Okay, so I don't know much about Smog. Smog is smarter than Drogon, yes? Like he can actually speak and all that kind of shit?
He's probably smarter than anyone else in those books, except possibly Gandalf, but probably not even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like the reason that they even like the reason Gandalf manipulated everyone in those books to go do that thing is because he knew that the necromancer was rising in power, which is actually Sauron, right? And he knew that if he got Smog on his side, he would be almost unstoppable. So he set events into motion to stop that from happening.
So then would his intelligence and all that be able to counteract something being just that much larger than him in Balerion? Because Balerion would dwarf Drogon easily.
Well, oh no, sure, no, Smog would get eaten by Balerion, but like Smog versus Drogon, they're probably similar in size, and Smog is like as smart as anyone.
Oh, so this is actually the better matchup then.
absolutely
Okay.
no, absolutely
Good job, Weapon 2.
Yeah, no, the Black Dread.
Thank you.
The Black Dread would be able to wipe out
Appreciate that.
all of all of the Westeros
Yes.
at once. Yeah, so yeah, orders of magnitude different.
T. Crawler, what did you vote?
I vote Drogon because I don't know Smog. I just vote for who I know. Honestly, it's like
You don't know who he is, or you don't know him, because I don't really actually know.
Yeah,
either,
they've never hung out with him or
I
anything.
tried to buy him a drink one time and he wouldn't take it.
everyone's a
He
fucking
said,
comedian.
John who?
Right, who are you?
How dare you?
Exactly.
Lose my number.
Exactly. You don't even have any mithril, do you?
So what was the voting on that?
That was 52% Smog and 48% Drogon.
Holy
Awesome.
shit, that's close.
yeah,
Wow.
pretty close.
Well, good, you know. Democracy works.
I have one that was just a complete landslide, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit if you guys have some more information on these guys. So we have, excuse me. All right, so here, the hot-headed Canadian codenamed Wolverine versus the man who has the power of all animals, Animal Man.
Okay.
I feel like we should throw this to weapon 2.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know a whole bunch about Animal Man, but I have to say, Wolverine's my favorite character in comic book. So I don't think I could have brought myself to vote for most anybody else. So, I mean, and you can't kill him. He's virtually invulnerable.
Definitely
I
true.
mean, you could put him in a blender and turn him to soup, and he's gonna come back. So
And an adamantium blender.
so I mean, whatever Animal Man does, I don't think he's ever like, you can't kill him. So
I mean, I don't know much about Animal Man, but I'm going to infer through
I
context.
think John
to say he
does.
turns
Don't
into
you know,
animals.
Don't you know a lot about Animal Man?
I don't know a
H.
lot
Dresden?
about him. I looked that up.
Sorry.
I'm H. Dresden. It's true.
Give away the secret identity, why don't you?
It's cool. Just give away my true
at
name.
this light. Look at
Just
this
give away
light.
my
Everybody-
true name. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. But I would say honestly, so I think post 52, Animal Man is a lot more significant because he can channel any animal in the entire universe.
Oh, well, that's
including animals that can like shoot lightning from their face, for example. So like, that's a way closer fight. And like just what you said, I don't think he ever kills Wolverine ever because who can, right?
Can't, yeah.
Right.
But he does Battlefield remove him? Yes. Does he knock him out? Yes. I think Animal Man wins that, which is what I voted for, but I lost. So what does that mean for me? I guess, who knows?
So landslide.
Yeah, 96%.
John,
Exactly.
John,
I was the one guy.
John, we can't win them all.
I
We can't win them all.
Exactly. That was the one guy, and that's fine.
T. Crawler, is that the final poll that you have on the docket?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to mention a poll that we talked about real quick in the last podcast because both the T. Crawler and Mr. H. Dresden were not present, and I want both of their thoughts real quick. So I want to talk about the Captain America versus Master Chief poll.
Oh no, we're not back on.
Now
this
we're
thing
back on
again.
it. We are back on it.
Christ's
We're
sake.
back on it.
I seem to remember writing
Don't
something
we got
about
some
this.
stuff to move on?
T. Crawler, I know you're Captain America,
You talked this to friggin' death.
but H. Dresden's gonna do it better.
Because he's the one that wrote this long-ass description, which, you know,
No,
it's
I
honestly-
agree with him.
I did.
He's
I
just
I
more
know,
articulate.
But you almost recited it word for word. Almost.
Okay, fine. He doesn't
I
have to
felt
restart.
like
I just
you
want to know what he
memorized.
thinks. I just want to know what he thinks.
Okay,
Nobody knows.
I'm all
H.
ears.
Dresden,
H. Dresden, I'm all ears.
Captain America versus Master Chief. Who wins?
What I think is that what I wrote is the reason why I have as few friends as I do. so I think that like in terms of their pure physical skills, they're probably fairly equal. Except that Captain America grew up running around in like Brooklyn with Bucky, whereas Master Chief ran up like he grew up like learning how to stab people to death with like their own bones. So I think that says a lot about how it's going to work out. You know, yeah. So that's what I think. I think that Master Chief will.
And then there's the armor.
Also the armor.
Exactly.
And
Well, no.
then
Even
there's the
outside of the armor, it's a push. I think it's a
Right.
good fight. Even if Cap has his shield, I think it's a good fight. Outside of the armor, put the armor on him. It's like Superman fighting Hawkeye. That's basically what you're looking at. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I am.
But
not
I
trying
mean,
not
it
that
is
hard
yeah,
not to.
It is
So,
your
yeah.
nature. That's why you're here.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, so
But I mean,
that'll-
Hawkeye's awesome though.
is he? Okay, that's fair. All right, so
If you're out there listening,
we're
Hawkeye, we think
all
you're
looking
awesome.
forward to the
Hang in
Hawkeye
there, pal.
series on Disney Plus.
Jeremy Renner, I'm a fan.
I actually am. He's great.
I know.
All right, so that'll do it with the polls and the shout outs. And my stupid new phone has a face on. There we go. Okay. For those of you on the YouTubes, I'm not having a stroke. I was trying to unlock my phone. Okay, so let's just leave this bad boy unlocked, huh? All right, so let's get into the news. So first topic we want to talk about is the Joker movie has just recently crossed the 1 billion mark worldwide, making it the most profitable movie superhero movie, comic book movie of all time, and you'd be like, what the hell? That didn't outgross Avengers Endgame. No, but it only
has
cost
to do with how much it costs.
$40 million to produce.
Right.
So it made all the money. On top of that, because of this, no surprise to anybody, it has been greenlit for a sequel. Now,
And when we were talking in our review and we were talking about whether they're not going to do another one, I said, unless it makes a whole bunch of money.
correct. So go ahead and check out our Joker review that myself and Weapon 2 did. We talked for about 42 minutes. We get really deep into it. Spoiler alert, we liked it. Mr. H. Dresden has not seen the movie yet. He's got a lot of
T-Crawler hasn't seen it either.
Wow.
Wow.
Fail. So we're not going to talk spoilers of the movie, but what we are going to talk about is how much money this movie made. And the fact that it's getting a sequel, and the fact that this is reinforcing DC's kind of new plan to not have a shared connected universe. Now, the three of us have talked this to death. You know our thoughts. We've made multiple videos on this. Yep. Let's see a new perspective. H. Dresden, what do you think about this news, DC as a whole, and Warner Brothers moving forward with these properties?
So I think that the best way to shoot things is to go ready, aim, fire, which is to think about the way that you want to make movies and then make a bunch of good movies that follow your plan. And then hopefully what everyone thinks is that they're good and that they want to pay money to watch them, and then you win, right? I think that the second option is to go ready, fire, aim. And if you're going to do that, maybe you don't have as good of an overall vision, but what you should do is just make good movies, right? And I feel like mostly what they have done on the DC side of things is they have lacked vision, lacked follow through, and then their whole entire big plan fell apart. But now they seem to be like resigning themselves to like, hey, we just need to make good movies, and no one's going to be sad about that because like let's face it, look at the intellectual property that they have here. They have Wonder Woman, they have Batman, they have Superman, they have the fucking Joker. Like, just make good movies about these people, and if some coherent whole evolves from that, great. If not, just make good movies. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about like, oh, hey, if this model doesn't work, we're just going to scrap the whole thing. No, just make good movies and see how it goes. Right. That's what I would say.
I completely agree with you.
Yes, exactly.
So you're right. They tried the whole structure of a cinematic shared universe, and that fell apart because they didn't want to like see it through.
Right.
And so now they seem to be just like, hey, some movies are connected, some aren't, whatever. We're just going to try to make good movies.
Exactly.
The problem is, I feel like if you're going to make several movies that are, let's say Wonder Woman 84 comes out and it's great. Right, Joker came out and it was really, really good. Let's say that Batman standalone Matt Reeves movie comes out and let's say that's good, and Aquaman comes out and that's good. Some of those movies are already interconnected. Some of them aren't. Do you think they're just going to start being like, oh, well, let's tie this in and let's make like BS reasons as to how these are all interconnected? Like, if they start doing that, that's going to annoy the crap out of me. Then at this point, I'm just like, no, then just nothing's connected. Screw it. Just make movies then.
I agree, and I think the best thing for them to do would be to take a step back, relax, say these are the properties that we have that are working well. What do we want to do with them? And then announce their plan, right? And say, hey, look.
That's asking an awful lot.
Well, but the thing is, I think that since the demographic that they're going for is like smart people that like nerd shit, like they should do that because I think that they should just respect the people that want to watch their movies, and then everyone else will fall into place because that's what they do.
But Warner Brothers does not look at what they think the audience, people that are fans of the intellectual property already want. They don't care. All they care about is we've got to make this movie and it's got to make a bunch of money. And if it doesn't, we're just going to freak out.
And that's why they're not as good as Marvel.
Yeah.
Sort yourselves out.
Exactly. So you guys know about the marshmallow study? Have you heard about that?
No. Tell us.
Okay, so the thing is, there's this study they did with a bunch of kids back in the 80s where they gave the kid a marshmallow and they're like, hey, if you want to eat this marshmallow right now, you can have it. But if you don't want to eat this marshmallow and you can hold on to it for 5 minutes, we'll give you 2 marshmallows. And then after 5 minutes, if you can wait another 5 minutes, we'll give you 3 marshmallows. And what they did was they tracked those kids throughout their entire lives, and the kids that did the best were the ones that could hold on to the most marshmallows because they could delay gratification. And I think that's DC's problem, is that they saw what Marvel did, and they're like, hey, we want to do that too. And they were unable to delay gratification. They weren't able to build something up from the ground level. I mean, fucking think about it. Marvel did that with like B-level characters.
Correct.
Yeah, right? Exactly. They didn't have Spider-Man. They didn't have Fantastic Four. They don't have Doom, right? And they built a universe that people want to watch.
Right.
And you know what? DC hasn't done that. They haven't shown that level of like impulse control.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. And this is the thing that I keep preaching is
and they have Superman.
They have Superman,
right?
Batman,
Seriously.
and Wonder Woman. They have the
That's
fucking
my point.
Trinity.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because I keep saying this, like, you know what? Phase 1 of the MCU didn't light the world on fire.
No,
except for
no.
Iron Man 1.
Well, 'cause
none
they
of
had
those
Robert Downey Jr. in it.
Yeah, none of those
Right.
movies was exciting to anybody. And then the Avengers happened, and then it was a holy shit moment that was earned.
And the fact that
Joss
they have,
Whedon.
Yes.
and the fact that they haven't
Exactly.
figured out and committed to Superman and Batman,
And you
drives
lose
me
Ben Affleck,
crazy.
and you're gonna lose Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill.
Commit,
Right.
Are you
commit to
kidding me?
your vision, and just we need Superman and Batman.
Right.
That's what
It's
we
not
need.
like you don't have the reserves to buy into this.
And
Like,
it's
just
so
do
annoying.
it in a way that's smart.
Because
Like,
you have your
seriously.
corners, what should be the cornerstones of your universe, and then you're like, oh, hey, Man of Steel 2, nah, we're not going to do that. Let's make a spin-off movie from Aquaman called The Trench. Let's do Birds of Prey, which is the movie nobody asked for.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. Based on like a
it
flawed
really Birds of
perspective
Prey,
on
though?
Harley
or
Quinn
even
anyway.
knows whether they
No.
want
Yeah.
to this date.
Right,
we
exactly.
should, at
So,
this
yeah.
point, since, let's say 2013, when Man of Steel came out, right? We should have at least 2 Superman movies. We should have 2 Batman movies. We should have, like, we coming toward a third Wonder Woman movie. We should have, like, we should have a Flash. We should have a Lantern.
And we should be working on Avengers 2, like in the JLU universe.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we should.
Absolutely.
And it's
Yep,
ridiculous. You're right. This is instant gratification. Like, we want that Avengers money. So we're going to do...
Exactly.
We're going to do Man of Steel. Oh, BVS, Dawn of Justice. Justice is in the title, so we're going to make $1 billion, even though it's not going to fucking matter, and the script's going to be shitty
Right,
and whatever.
right. It's petty wise
See,
pound foolish.
and here's the thing: if they would have committed to what they were doing, and just kept, instead of trying to keep reinventing, let's just commit to what we
Exactly,
have,
right?
and let's just keep making the movies.
Have the courage of your convictions.
Because Marvel's
Yes.
put out so many more movies. That's why they continue to make so much money. But they keep putting on the brakes, and sometimes U-turning, and then reinventing themselves. It's just
And
not
it's done-
working,
And it's like,
man.
you know what? If you want to go tonally different than Marvel, if you want to be dark and bleak and gritty, fuck it. Do it.
Yeah.
Then
Do
do
it
it. Then
and
don't
commit to it.
care. Yeah,
Right.
but then
Commit to
commit
it.
to it. Don't do this
Which-
wishy-washy shit.
By the way, is the opposite direction to go for DC because like Marvel was already the dark, gritty version of DC, right? Like what we want is purity. What we want is these like godlike characters.
Right.
Like do that and do it well,
Well-
and like goddamn people will watch it.
The problem is The Dark Knight went dark and gritty, and that made money. So they're like, everyone needs to be dark and gritty. No, you know what? Certain characters should be dark and gritty.
Right.
Spider-Man should not be dark and gritty,
Right,
right?
but
And it's not. Superman shouldn't be dark and gritty.
That's the point of Superman versus Batman is
Yeah.
they define each other through
Yes.
their exactly, yeah.
And that's what's ridiculous. That's why Wonder Woman was so fucking good, because at the end of that movie, you walk away from it feeling hopeful and optimistic, and like she represents love and
Exactly.
power and courage and beauty and all these things that Wonder Woman represents. It felt like Wonder Woman. I love Man of Steel, but you watch Man of Steel, and that's a great action movie to me, but it's pretty bleak. And I'm
Exactly.
just like, this is a good stepping stone toward getting us the Superman that we should have. Problem is, he never gets there.
And have faith in the artistic talent that you hire. Like let them tell a story and just
Right.
follow it. Don't worry about whether people are going to love it.
Right.
Like they'll love it because you tell them to.
Right.
And-
That's
and the
what-
thing about
that's what fiction is about.
And the thing about Superman is, if you're not certain about his tone right now, gradually change it. Look at Thor.
Right.
Thor
Yes.
was
Yes.
serious.
Perfect example.
Perfect. He was
Fuck.
Great
serious.
example.
And,
Yes.
and they didn't
Exactly.
just panic
Nope.
and just get a whole new actor and
They
start going
steered
some other
the
direction.
course.
They intelligently changed the tone of that character.
Right.
You know?
And
Right.
if-
Like in universe, like plot wise,
Right.
in universe.
That makes
Exactly,
it so
yeah.
so much so that when you go back and watch some of the first movies he's in, you're like, that is a totally different person. Like,
Right.
holy crap.
Exactly.
And that means that's not a flaw in storytelling. That's character development. That
Yes.
means
And
that
because
that's
there are
enriching.
reasons why it happened.
Exactly. And it all makes
Yes.
sense.
So then if you had Man of Steel be the first movie in a 3 or 4 movie series where
Right.
it's like, hey, I like the humanization. I like that he doesn't know who he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to be. I even am okay with him killing. And then 3 movies later, we get to our Superman and it would be earned.
Right?
I'm on board with that.
Right.
But then they're like, oh, it didn't make enough money, so let's change everything.
Even
Well, I mean-
Batman in that universe, like seriously, like he's obviously the Batman at the very end of his rope.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
he like seriously, he's like he gave up all his ideals. He's just like I need to just do this now.
Right.
And like I'm okay with that. That's cool. Evolvement is great. Like just don't sell out.
But
And
him from BVS to him in Justice League is a disgusting change in character.
I know.
It's
I
pathe-
know,
it was
I know.
pathetic.
Exactly.
And
Because
you can
exactly because they lack vision.
You can explain Superman's changing convictions.
Lacks vision.
You just got to develop the story. This is the story. He was this at one time. He's changed his convictions. Write the story. Be intelligent. Be interesting. Use your creativity, your storytelling to make that change in a smart way.
Yeah.
You know?
Could you imagine if you never heard of humans and then 70 years later, how much different you would be? We're not that great. Like, I'm just saying, like, seriously, like, it would be okay. He would be different after 70 years of being around us. Like, for real.
T. Crawler? What do
Like,
you think?
idealism, like, it goes the way of the dodo after a while. It's just the facts of the matter.
I have nothing to say because I'm on board with what you guys are just saying, everything I'm thinking already. So it all just makes sense. It's common sense. So
Right. That got pretty deep for the first news topic, guys.
it was.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm liking this.
All right, so let's stay with DC stuff, but let's go to the television side of things, and we're going to talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is the big multi-show crossover event for the Arrowverse. Mr. Dresden, I know you're not the largest fan of the Arrowverse.
I feel like what I would say is that a Crisis of Infinite Earth is sort of an accurate description of DC's marketing campaign. So yeah,
Burn!
It's a crisis.
Shots
of infinite
fired!
Earths. And
Shots
they
fired.
don't relate to each other, and they're infinite, and no one cares about any of them at all.
But
So that's my problem.
but-
I'm just gonna say that's me.
What you might like to hear is that they are doing a Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and they have Kevin Conroy coming on
Well, of course.
play Kingdom Come Batman.
Anyone who is ever sad about Kevin Conroy doing Batman is wrong.
Exactly.
I love the whole Kingdom Come comic
That is a
concept.
great
I love
comic.
that. I love that story, and I love Alex
too.
Ross's. Alex Ross, is that his name?
Yes,
I
Alex Ross.
love his art.
Amazing.
His art's great.
Yep.
But so that whole concept of them being older, their offspring are the ones that are kind of taking over the helm, but they're got a whole different type of morals and values.
It's almost like an X-Men universe insinuates itself into the DC universe. It's like all of a sudden there's these like reckless people that are Gen Xers as compared to the boomers.
And the narrative is so interesting because it's from that guy who's like ultra religious and he's comparing it all to the Bible. It's an interesting
That's
take on
Beyonder,
that.
isn't it? Isn't it Beyonder that's supposed to be watching the whole thing?
No.
Moving on,
It's
hearing so.
it's
Century.
an old man. It's an old man. It's an old man.
Right, but it's somebody that's like
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's somebody. I can't remember the guy's name. It might be Century. Is that it? No, that's a Marvel guy. I can't
Century's
remember.
Marvel. Yeah. Who was? Damn, it's been a while since I've read
It's somebody like that though. It's somebody that's at that level of power.
that. Right. But
No,
Guardian?
are you mixing this up with Marvels?
Probably.
No.
Yeah. No. Oh no, you're talking about
It's like the
oh yeah, Beyonder is Marvel.
That's
Guardian?
that's two separate. You're
Guardian?
talking about the Marvel one where everybody's old and kind
it
of
might be
apocalyptic.
Flash that's telling the whole
And there-
story from the
and there
Beyonder's
is-
perspective of time.
There's it's a robot, and I don't know who it is. And it's like X10 or something like that. I don't know who it is. I know what you're talking about, but Kingdom Come is just a religious guy who's just narrating as just a regular person that's watching all this stuff keep happening, and he's comparing it to all the stuff that he's reading in the Bible. So it's an interesting narrative. And then I also like Marvels. And then I also like what you're talking about too. I know
Weapon
I know
2
that I
likes
also
all
like.
the things.
I
Legit,
also
though,
like-
I do think that I do think the narrator of Kingdom Come is somebody that we're supposed to know, and I don't think it's just a random religious guy. I think it's actually like one of the celestial power levels of the Marvel universe, because he describes like when Shazam and Superman fight, and it's like he has the full perspective on it. So I don't know. I could be wrong. We can look it up, but whatever. I think it is supposed to be somebody that's
If only we had a producer sitting behind a computer that might be able to look this up. But yeah, so that would be really cool. And so he is going to play the old Batman, which is really, really dope. And Brandon Roth is playing Kingdom Come Superman, which is going to be really, really dope. And so that's going to be fun. So we're excited about Crisis on Infinite Earths. T. Crawler, are you excited for it?
Oh yeah, I mean I love. But you know me, I love the Arrowverse, so I'm on the opposite end of Dresden. Was it Dresden?
H. Dresden.
Sorry.
H. Dresden. So I'm trying to get on. You know, I'm on the opposite. I love the Arrowverse and I like the stuff that's going on with it. So the Crisis on Infinite Earth. Every time I hear that they're going to be adding somebody else to it, it makes me more and more excited because all their crossovers so far have been really, like I don't know. I've enjoyed all of them. So. And Elseworlds, the last one they did was, I don't know, we watched that. That was pretty
And
that
I've
was
never
pretty
seen
good.
an Arrowverse crossover that's been being hyped up for a fucking year. For a year,
you know,
they're
it's
hyping this up.
because Berlanti is behind it. And honestly, it's like, I honestly keep saying Berlanti is like the
Agree
Karen
with that.
Feige of the DC TV stuff.
Yes.
I mean, because if you look at CW, all the stuff he has on there, and then you look at also the DC Universe app, the Titans, the Swamp Thing, all this stuff, like he does phenomenal stuff. And those shows are really, I mean, they're really good.
They
especially
are.
if you have a chance to watch Titans, I swear to God,
Titans is very good.
It's, oh my God.
We're going to be doing a review on season 2
Yeah,
here.
I
shortly.
I
wait for
like
that one.
Titans. I do like Titans
Right?
also.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure,
So-
absolutely.
So I'm excited for Christ on Infinite Earth. It's you got a lot of people.
One thing that is like super exciting about this crossover, though, it's like it's one thing if you're like building a shared universe from the start, right? But this is just incorporating classic heroes and characters from shows that were completely unconnected in
Right.
any way, shape, or form for total fan service.
Right.
Which makes it feel so freaking like you got freaking Tom Welling coming back to reprise his role as Clark on Smallville.
right.
Right. And
That-
it gives the fans the benefit of the doubt. Like you're gonna be able to get this. Just follow it. It's like Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yes.
Like you know what? It doesn't explain it to you. It just says, hey, this is what's going on. Follow it or don't.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's very exciting. Very happy for that. Kevin Conroy is my guy. He is my definitive Batman. That voice is insane. I'm just happy for anything he's in Batman related.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next story. So you guys may or may not know there's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie happening, and a trailer got released for that. And yeah, he didn't look like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know what they were. Somebody pointed out that he looked like the kid from Jumanji, the old one with Robin Williams, when he turned into the monkey. And
yeah.
after that, I couldn't unsee it because that
Oh,
is
that's right.
exactly what it looked like. So this is like the best example of like online bullying ever because people talk so much shit. They postponed the release date and redesigned the fucking character.
So by
sure
online
did.
bullying, you mean capitalism? Because
Yes.
it's what people are willing to
Yes.
pay for. Exactly.
So now the new Sonic's out. I'm gonna put the image right here. And now it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it looks like Sonic now!" And I'm almost like, "Oh, that's great. The movie's still gonna suck. It's just gonna suck now. It's gonna look like Sonic." So, what do you guys think of the redesign? What do you think of the movie? Does it look as terrible as I think it does? T. Crowler?
I know what with the redesign. I don't know. I like it. I'm excited to go see it. It's something I'll go see with my little ones. You know, it's
Right.
I don't know. It just looks like it'll be a fun movie. I wasn't really excited for Pokemon because I didn't really know much about that when that movie came out. Detective Pokemon, whatever. What was it called?
Detective Pokemon.
Yeah,
Detective
so-
Pikachu.
Pikachu. I wasn't really excited because I didn't know
Right.
much about that world, that whole thing. With Sonic's,
Well, he has a job. He's a detective.
You know a little bit in the title.
Yeah. So
I feel
What
ya.
does Sonic do?
Calm down. Okay,
for a
first of all,
regular job.
hey, you calm down over there, sir. I am the perfect generation for this.
Figured it out.
The Sega Genesis was my first video game console. That was
Yep.
actually mine. Yes, Sonic 2 was my first ever video game. That with X-Men. So I love Sonic, I really do, and I also love Pokemon. But you know what? Detective Pikachu sucked. So this movie looks terrible. Jim Carrey's being Dr. Robotnik is disgusting. I hate the concept of when you have an animated character come to like the human world. That's stupid. When they showed the second trailer when he was running around on his world doing the loops and all that, I was like, why can't I watch that movie? That movie looks fucking awesome. I want to see that. But no, he's going to come to
I
our
see what
world
you're saying.
now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now it's just all stupid. Dresden, what do you think?
Well, I think that the idea of a speedster movie is kind of fun. And I'm interested to see how they handle that. Like, I want to see him sliding under cars and like ripping out their fuel lines and then watching them crash over cliffs. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe it'll just be gathering rings. I don't know. So I mean, I don't know.
Do you have an emotional connection with Sonic? Do you care?
No, I really don't care that much about Sonic. So I hope it all goes well for him.
I hope it all goes well for
Weapon
him.
2? What do you think?
Right.
Well, I don't care. So I hope y'all have fun at the movies.
Well, I don't.
I won't be at the theater for this one.
You sound like. Well, I don't care.
Holy shit, that was great.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I
so-
do want to say a thing, though. I
figure it
do
out.
want to
Okay,
say a thing.
what's up?
So what I want to say is that have you guys ever seen Miguel Vasquez's art?
No.
So you've definitely seen him. He's the guy that like on like Board Panda does like a human representation of the Simpsons.
Okay.
Or like or
Oh, yeah,
SpongeBob.
yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you're talking
So
about.
that's what the original Sonic looked like. It was like disturbing
Yeah.
and inappropriately
Yes.
realistic, and I kind of wanted to throw up.
was-
So
Like
I
he
like
was
what they've
kind
done
of
with it.
strung out.
Right, like exactly.
He looked like Sonic after 20 hard
I would not
years.
exactly. It wasn't the years; it was the mileage, and he's put a lot of miles on. And I would not trust him with my daughter
He's-
or anyone
dude,
that I've ever met before.
He's
Exactly.
done some stuff for
Exactly.
an 8-ball he
Exactly.
would be ashamed to say.
Right. It's just all about
Saying.
the rings. It's all about the rings, and he's gonna get them how he's got to get them.
Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah.
All right, let's move on to it. You got any more of those rings?
Just here.
You got any more of those rings? Hey.
I want to say it so bad, but this is a family show, and I'm not gonna. Okay, guys.
Whose family watches this?
It's bad ones. You're a bad parent if you let your child watch
No,
this show.
you're not.
Like a
Don't
shameless
listen to
family?
them.
All right, guys, let's move on.
Just get your kids to subscribe.
As long as they hit that subscribe button, you're a good parent.
Exactly.
Like and subscribe.
Exactly. We'll
Set
send
him
you,
up in a
we'll
crowd.
send you some rings. We'll send you some rings if your kids subscribe. Sell us your children.
Get them rings.
All right, moving on. So Disney Plus is a thing that happens, and that launched, last week? 2 weeks ago? Something like that?
on
At
the
the time
12th,
of this podcast?
Last week.
Right, so the recording of this podcast is launched about a week ago. It's enough time for us to check some stuff out, to see some series, some movies, all that kind of stuff. Weapon 2. What do you think of the Disney Plus?
There's a whole bunch of stuff on that. I'm telling you what, I thought that it was going to be. Well, here's the thing. I thought they were going to start with more of the original series.
Yeah.
Little disappointed to see that the only one that was there was Mandalorian. But once you start looking around and seeing the whole library for Disney and stuff, I was surprised. They have just about everything on there.
They have a lot of stuff. Yeah.
they
so,
do.
So, I mean, as a streaming service, in general, I think it's great. I can't wait to see the new original series they're going to start, though. They can't get them up fast enough for me.
T. Crowley?
I'm very excited for this. Like you said, there's a lot of stuff on there, and not from what you said, but there's somebody that commented on the Facebook page. I'm like, okay, now we're starting to sound like a bunch of spoiled children. Like, where's this and where's that? Like, you know what? The Marvel series that are coming out, they need time. They're going to put them out, and when they do, it's going to be worth it. I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be worth the wait on these shows. And some of these shows are, like you said, they're intertwining with the movies. They're not just mentioning the movies like they did with the Netflix Marvel stuff. They're actually intertwining. Like if you go on there and you watch Expanding the Marvel Universe, watching that thing gave me goosebumps. Like, because you have Kevin Feige.
Same
up there,
thing. That was amazing.
Right, he's announcing all this stuff, and he actually said they're going to have their series and they're going to go on into the movies. Like, they're not just going to.
So they're timing the releases on purpose.
Right. So,
right.
you know, people are just like, "Why need this? What need that?" There's so much stuff on there. And the other day, I went and watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It reminded me of when I was a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons. I'm like, oh my god, it was cheesy as hell because I laughed my ass off because Norman Osborn, who becomes the Green Goblin, he's mixing chemicals in his lab. And there's an explosion. He's mixing the same fucking chemicals, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, boom, it explodes. Like, it's just it's cheesy. But back in the day,
You don't know how many times those two chemicals need to be
but
mixed.
back in the day,
Hey,
What are
science is hard, okay?
Yeah, what are you, a scientist or something?
it's just awesome to see how like it kind of cheesy now, but it's still cool. But it was just so nostalgic. They have a
Right.
lot of stuff on there. My kids have watched that freaking Lady and the Tramp live Lady and the Tramp
Live action.
like eight times already.
Excuse me.
So
That's not real
you know-
dogs.
isn't it what?
That's
It's fine.
still CGI.
It's
I
live
hate to
action.
tell you, it's
It's live
not
I mean,
real dogs.
you know what I'm talking about. It's not a cartoon. That's what I was talking about. Jeez.
I'm
But
just sorry.
anyway.
It's a pet peeve when they keep saying live action for these.
It's-
It's still
The
animation.
non-cartoon. How about that? Non-cartoon.
The more
Anyway,
realistic looking
So I
animation.
like it, and I like the series for the Star Wars. I just like the stuff that they're putting out. I mean, of course, there's bugs. They have to work stuff out, and people are just getting impatient. But I mean, overall, I love it.
Dresden?
I am super happy to have almost all of the Star Wars universe at my immediate fingers. Right? So that makes me really
That is
happy.
awesome, yes.
I do still own the original Star Wars videos, like, you know, before, like when they marketed them, like before the edits are taken out forever one last time. I still have those, and so I do get a little bit sad about the changes that are made, and like all of a sudden I'll have this disconnect, be like, wow, that's not what I'm expecting next. But yeah, no, I think Disney Plus is pretty great, and the fucking Mandalorian is amazing.
Yeah. I
Right.
feel like Disney and Nintendo just have the market for nostalgia. Like they could
Right,
just
exactly.
hit it home every time. Because for me, X-Men the animated series from the 1990s, Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s, motherfucking
Gargoyles!
gargoyles. Are you fucking kidding me with the gargoyles? Oh my god, that was the happiest day in recent memory. I
Is
don't
it
know
just
what to
me,
say
or
about
is Gargoyles essentially Highlander except with like wings?
Yes.
A little bit.
Dude,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
that
super melodramatic.
show-
It's wonderful
oh
and
my God.
amazing.
It holds up.
It really does.
So
I'm impressed.
well. No, I've been preaching
Impressed.
for years that this needs to be remade or made a movie or whatever, and I've been trying so hard to find it like anywhere. And now it's all at my fingertips, and I'm just going through it, and it holds up so well. Not only that, but then I went on like this nostalgic trip where I was watching the intro to like DuckTales and Darkwing Duck and Chippendales Rescue Rangers, and I was drunk because that's what I do. And I was just like singing along, and you'll be amazed. You remember all the words. And
Oh yeah,
tailspin.
tailspin. Oh,
Another tailspin.
Drunk.
Bum, 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 bum,
All
bum,
drunk
bum,
singing.
bum, bum,
get in
bum,
with
bum.
another tailspin.
He was drunk singing in his tidy whities eating cereal.
I wear boxer briefs, sir.
He can't afford cereal. Come on.
Cereal gets in the way of the beer.
Exactly.
Anyway, Disney Plus is pretty dope. You're right. I expected more original series, but hey, The Mandalorian's pretty dope. We'll
Yeah,
talk
it
about
is.
that in a future podcast. yeah, I feel like Disney Plus is only going to get better, and it's pretty freaking good right now. And for the price, you really can't beat it. It is pretty inexpensive.
Facts.
All right. So, move on to our last point here. So, this is a news story I'm actually very excited about. So, Star Trek 4 is officially happening. It's kind of been in production hell. It's been going back and forth between not knowing how much money he was going to get, whether or not Chris Pine was going to come back. Rumors were circulating around that Chris Hemsworth was going to be cast to play Chris Pine's father, and there's going to have a whole time travel plot. But it's been up in the air for a long time trying to get the cast back. And the issue is, personally, I love these movies. I love the remakes of Star Trek. I think all three of them have been very, very, very good. Problem is they don't make the money of a Star Wars or a Marvel movie, right? So the last one made just under 250 million, I want to say, worldwide, which is like not bad, but that's not a movie you want to spend $200 million on. So I'm excited that this movie is officially a go. My question to you guys is, do you like the new Star Treks? Are you excited that a fourth one is happening? And if so, what would you like to see happen? Dresden, let's start with you.
I think that, I am one of those people that actually has an equal affinity for both Star Trek and Star Wars, particularly about, I know, right? It's don't shank me. I'll be okay. I swear, I'm sorry. But particularly, like, The Next Generation was like, like everyone grew up like loving that, and I wish Captain Picard was my father a little bit. So, I mean, but that says more about me than it does about this show.
I grew up watching Kirk.
So moving on.
Kirk
I
was
get
my
it.
guy.
Kirk Fu.
I get it. And so that says a lot about you. Anyway, moving on. So what I think that Star Trek has done is that they have sold out, and they have become like, because Star Trek was always the smartest of the shows, right? It's like, we're going to make it about hard science, and we're going to disguise it as fantasy. And I think that they've sold out, and I think that the rewards were not what they hoped they would be. And I think that that's sad, and I still like to watch the movies, but I mean, like, to turn the entire crew of the Enterprise into an action hero cast, to me, it's wasting them. And so that part makes me a little bit sad, but I do enjoy the movies, and I'm happy they're making another one.
Okay, fair enough. T. Carla?
Not excited. I mean, it's just The Next Generation was the one that I was really into, and before that, I ended up having to sit in the living room waiting for one of my shows while my dad watched the original, like the Star Trek with Kirk. So I got to watch the cheesy fight scenes, and I started knowing that all the guys in the red shirts weren't coming back to the ship. Like, it's just. It was what it is. And then I watched those movies and stuff. So, I mean, Next Generation was my thing. I watched a little bit of Deep Space Nine, but as far as entertainment, like, I did like the newer Star Trek movies, but it's not my thing where I'm excited to see it.
Gotcha.
But I will watch it.
Right.
It's because they've been good. So.
Yeah, for me, I was never a Star Trek guy. I think it was just the thing that was a little bit, before my time. I did watch Next Generation on and off. Picard is a badass. I will never refute that at all. But I never got into any of the series. And it wasn't until 2009 the J.J. Abrams remake of Star Trek actually got me giving a shit about the characters. So to me, my emotional attachment is to this version of the characters. So I am very, very stoked to see the fourth movie. And yeah, I get it. It's very actiony, and this is a constant thing I do hear from hardcore Trek fans is that it's not real Star Trek. It's more action than it is, about the science and about all the space exploration and all that. And I hear you. I totally do. But for me, these movies are exciting and they're interesting. Visually, they're beautiful, specifically the two JJ ones.
They're ridiculous.
They are so freaking gorgeous.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. And so I'm aboard. Like, for just a visually appealing action movie and nothing really deeper than that, I'm excited. I'm very excited. When I read this, I was stoked.
Real quick point of order.
Okay.
I'd like to point out that Mariana Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes both do voices in Gargoyles, as does Michael Dorn. Those are three of the cast members from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Really?
They all do
Did
voices.
not know
in
that.
Gargoyles.
All right.
Yep.
Well played.
Exactly. Yep. The main guy, Xanatos. That's William Frakes, who was number one Riker.
Right.
And then Mariana Sirtis was the crazy vampire with the red eyes thing. Yep.
Okay, real quick, going back to our previous topic, though. Should they make a Gargoyles reboot? Should they do
Yes!
that? Yes! Hard freaking yes!
Right?
All day. All
Anyway.
day. Okay. Limit 2, what do you think about anything, really?
Well, I grew up watching Kirk and the old Star Trek. I mean, I think even before there was Star Wars. So I like that. Star Wars and Star Trek have never been on exactly the same level for me. I've always been more in love with Star Trek or the Star Wars story, but I've always liked Star Trek. I've always appreciated each change. I did like the new generation, the Next Generation. I kind of fell off for anything after that. I do really like the new movies for what they are. They're just in the Star Trek universe, so therefore I like them. I understand everything that H. Dresden said about it, and I kind of feel the same way. But I like them. It's not like I'm excited to see another one. It's a little weird to me that they're not making a little bit more money than they did.
Okay, real talk. So, the first Star Trek made a decent amount of money. Star Trek Into Darkness made a little bit more. It made about $400 million, a little bit north of that worldwide, which again isn't super good, but it's progressing upwards, right? And so the expectation was Star Trek Into Darkness was going to be the one that broke at least $600-700 million. Like there was huge projections for that movie, and based on those metrics, it kind of tanked. It barely, I want to say, broke even in terms of box office revenue.
What do you think made that happen?
I have a theory.
Okay, go for it.
I think that they excluded the really hardcore Star Trek fans, which is a fairly valuable demographic, and that they didn't do enough to attract casual fans. So they did just like had a very, very narrow, middle of the road sort of audience, and they got all of those people probably 2 or 3 times, and then the other people just didn't show up.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. I do think that the first Star Trek movie did a brilliant thing in trying to bridge the gap between the two. And the alternate timeline thing and all that, you know, it's still paying homage. It's not saying your stuff doesn't count, all that kind of stuff. But you're right. And that'll work for a movie. And people might show up for the sequel to see what happens. But at that point, you're right. It went straight action. And so it's not different enough to garner its own fan base. And like you said, it probably alienated the originals, and it just didn't draw, which to me is a shame because I feel like they are good movies. I feel like they're good movies that should be making $500 to $600 million a pop and should continue the story. Like, I don't think they're the best thing ever, but I really enjoy them. And, you know, all the cast is great and witty. And pretty much I think Dresden hit the nail on the head. I think that's why I was shocked when that movie didn't break $300 million, the last one. I was really like, what the hell? And I was sad because I thought that was going to be the end of the franchise.
And again, that's the theme that we've talked about tonight is don't be a whore. Make good movies and see how it goes. Right? Just make good movies.
Don't be a whore.
Like, just make good movies, and then people will show up for them probably, right?
Or like pick a theme or a tone and stick with it.
They're
just doing this wishy-washy shit where they're trying to appease everyone. You know, and
doesn't work.
Nope.
We'll throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and we'll go with that. But then that's going to change from day to day.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to have vision.
So I believe that is all we got for the news.
I got one. Just want to throw something out there.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm kind of an off-brand comic book guy, and so I like Valiant. Valiant's an interesting comic universe for me. So here in I think February is Bloodshot's coming out, the movie. And I think that it's Sony that's making this, and they've got like a 5-picture deal for the Valiant universe. I love the character Bloodshot. I think he's super cool. I love Valiant Comics and their comic universe. I am a little worried.
You saw the trailer, I'm assuming.
Vin Diesel
He's a little
Bloodshot.
old for it. He's too old for it.
And Vin Diesel is one of these guys who I don't get super excited about seeing in movies.
So
I don't hate him. He's not a guy who I go like, oh no, I'm not going to go see that. But he doesn't. He's not quite as multi-leveled an actor.
So I feel you on this point. I don't know a whole lot about Bloodshot, but I knew that he was going to be in this movie.
Well, I'll tell you who Bloodshot is really quick.
Go for it.
So Bloodshot's a guy who dies, and they inject him his blood. They inject it inside his bloodstream with like 1 billion nanobots. Okay, so he's got nanobots. He's like Wolverine in that he can regenerate from almost nothing. He can cyber interface with computers and stuff, and he's shape changer,
shifter.
Yeah,
I got you, boo.
So that's pretty much him. In just quick nutshell.
So did the trailer look accurate to the comics too? Because we didn't do a trailer reaction.
You didn't really see much about Bloodshot.
You don't.
The trailer that I saw, you just saw.
He just looked like Vin Diesel the whole time.
Well,
he was just mumble growling his way through that trailer.
You see him put a syringe in his arm. You see him put a syringe in his arm and a whole bunch of little robots on there, and you see him kind of heal a couple little wounds, but that's it.
I'm just saying this, okay? If Vin Diesel is your leading man in what should be this next big franchise, I'm with you.
And they put Vin Diesel over the title.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's Bloodshot.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a negative, but I'm just like, oh, he's the best you can get, huh? like
I
he's
just
not
hope-
your first choice. That's
I
all I'm
just
saying.
hope
The one
it's-
thing
I
I
hope
will
it's
say is
good.
this: is that Vin Diesel's a nerd.
Yes.
So he's probably executive producer.
Yes.
And he's probably putting mad cash into this because it's a passion project for him.
I
I'll
Probably.
give you that.
I just hope it's good because there's a lot of other good characters. Exo Manowar, you got
Right.
This could be the door opening to that.
Archer and
universe.
Armstrong. You got a lot of other characters that I'd like to see.
I'm just saying that Bat in the Sun, the YouTube channel that does superhero beatdown, superpowered beatdown,
so awesome.
they got Jason David Frank, aka the original Green Ranger, to play Bloodshot, and I was way more excited about that.
Agreed. Fair
So
enough.
that's
I
all
think
I'll
if
say.
Vin Diesel was just going to produce it, I'd watch the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But maybe he doesn't need to be the star anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else got any news topics you want to throw out real quick?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. So we are going to get into our top 5 countdown. So if you've been following this podcast for any length of time, and you should, we have been going through our favorite action movies of their respective decades, except for last week when we took a break in honor of Halloween and gave you our top 5 Halloween horror movies of all time. So we're going to wrap up our list of the greatest action movies and give you our top 5 action movies of the decade 2010 to 2019. Personally, I don't know about these guys, but this is a very hard list for me to come out with. I'm actually happy that T. Crawler insisted that we exclude superhero movies because holy shit, that would have been hard. But Weapon 2, what is your number 5
Top 5.
action movie
Here we go.
of whatever this decade is called? Wait, what is this decade called?
2010 to 2019.
The 2010s? Is that what it
The,
is?
the teens.
The teens.
The 20 teens.
20 teens.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
Number 5. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
That's a good choice.
that's a good
So-
choice.
That's a good choice.
I grew up watching the original Planet of the Apes with some pretty silly latex masks.
Yep.
I mean, they did the best they could with what they had. They had to go from
me,
them.
you damn dirty apes.
But
I love that line.
the way I really
Damn dirty ape.
love the way they started these new movies with, CGI is not perfect, but man, they did really good in these things. These are really well done. The storytelling was really cool. I love the story about how they gave all the backstory in the first one. Was that Rise? Was Rise the first
Okay,
one?
I was about to ask
Yep.
which one was which.
And
yeah.
so,
I like Rise.
they show how it kind of happened, and you get a good story there. And so in Dawn's where between the two movies, there's been a release of a virus which they call the simian flu,
Right.
which kills most all of the human beings on the face of the earth, and you see where there's pockets of human beings who have survived. They're living in all these different places. The apes are living in the trees, trying to form their civilization. They're smart now, so they're smart enough to start doing even more wicked and dumb stuff like human beings do. And so they make all these codes where ape doesn't kill ape, except for the bad guy when he starts killing apes. And then when he goes to get killed by Caesar, he throws out the ape doesn't kill ape. And then he goes, "You're not an ape." And so,
Exactly.
So the way it starts is the human beings decide they need power because, they can't watch, I don't know,
By power, you mean electricity.
TV, electricity. Yeah, they don't have any electricity, so they need to go to a faraway dam to get it working again, so that their town can have power. And as they're walking around trying to find out, this guy who's supposed to be the genius, that's the only guy who knows how to really fix the dam, encounters two apes that are just like hanging out, and they're all shocked to see each other, like, what the heck's going on here? And then he shoots one of them and kills them. Bad move. Apes come out of the woods everywhere. They surround them. It's like, whoa, whoa. The other people come up. The star, I can't remember his name, comes up and says, hey, let's not jump to any hasty decisions here. And they kind of make a little peace. Caesar says, okay, I'll let you go up there and start working on your thing, but I'm going to destroy all your guns. My rule is no guns. Don't take any guns up there. Can I get you all to agree not to have any guns? We're down. No guns. You got our word. What happens later on?
a gun.
That douche that shot the poor ape at the beginning has a shotgun stuffed somewhere. And so then that starts going wrong. And the bad ape, I can't remember his name, Scar, or whatever his name was. He goes, I don't know. He goes down to the town and he starts starts like acting crazy and getting and catches people off guard and takes their weapons and shoots them, and they're trying to shoot a war because he was like in a lab getting experimentation on him, so he hates the humans. He wants to go to war with them. He doesn't want any peace with them for anything, and so they work this whole thing out. What happens next? They finally get the dam working because they send that guy, the guy that they couldn't fix the dam without after the shotgun thing. They send him down the hill and they say, "We can apparently, I guess, fix this without you." So they fix it and they go to war. And there's war, an inner war through the apes. They're fighting each other.
War.
And boy, it's just really exciting and fun. And it's probably the best story of the three, I think, in my opinion.
All right.
That's it.
Weapon 2. I want you at my funeral to tell the story of my life.
Okay.
It's gonna be so great.
And then he
You're
did
gonna be
the
so
thing.
no. He's gonna be
It's
like no. And then he drove
Captain Mal?
a train. And then he did a podcast.
Captain
He drank
Mal?
a beer. He slept with a girl with daddy issues. And then that was a bad choice. And it's just gonna be the best
Captain
thing
Mal,
ever.
I'm going to die far before you.
There wasn't
So-
a lot of sleeping at that point.
Challenge
Just let you know.
accepted.
What about you?
Just
Captain
saying.
Mal?
Moving
It's your
on.
turn, Captain Mal.
My number 5 action movie of the 10s. That sounds so weird. 2014.
20 teens.
2004. Where are you going, bro? For those of you on the YouTubes, Weapon 2's leaving us.
I'm going to dispose of some bodily waste.
Okay, that's
Hey, when you come back, could you
in
get me
liquid
something to
fashion.
drink that clearly is not alcohol because that would be in contravention of all sorts of rules and regulations?
wink, wink.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it.
Wink.
Awesome. A dark cola is what I would like. Thank you.
My number 5 action movie of the teens is 2014, John Wick.
Fuck you for stealing my shit. Incidentally.
So to me, this movie was amazing and came out of freaking nowhere. Was not expecting John Wick at all. In fact, I don't even think I went to theaters to watch this. I'm pretty sure I just rented this and checked it out because I like the Keanu Reeves. And what happened was I witnessed one of the greatest standalone action movies in recent memory. The story is incredibly simple, but incredibly easy to relate to, attach to, and John Wick's, if you don't know by now, John Wick's wife dies. He was an assassin. He left an incredibly dangerous world of being an assassin to be with her. She dies. Shortly thereafter, he gets a little puppy, which is the cutest little puppy in the world. And that's going to be his, like, object to grieve with and his one last thing of her
She
to
sent
remember
it
her
to
by.
him.
She sent it to him. And shortly thereafter, Theon Greyjoy rolls up and murders his dog and steals his car, which coincidentally is a 69 Mustang, which would be on my list of dream cars of all time. Anyway, John Wick then decides to murder anyone and everyone who had anything remotely to do with this. And the killing spree that he goes on is one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen in my life. The action. Okay, so here's the thing. A comedy movie should make you laugh. A horror movie should scare you. The action movies should make you go, holy shit! The action. It is some of the most incredible gunplay and hand-to-hand combat you'll ever see interwoven like intravenously together. Watch some of the training videos that Keanu Reeves does as John Wick. It is insane. I pity the man that breaks into that man's house at 2 a.m. He's going to murder you. That movie was a surprise hit, so much so it spawned one of the most successful action franchises of this generation. John Wick 2 and 3 are both amazing. John Wick 4, I'm eagerly looking forward to. Keanu Reeves, I cannot emphasize enough, is a badass. And this movie, like you can show, this is a movie you can show to anybody, someone who doesn't like action movies, because when they murder a puppy, it tends to put you in a certain mood. Most people like puppies. And you get on board with him, and you're like, hey, murder all the people. That was Weapon 2. Yeah, on the YouTubes. Just walked right on by.
Right through the
Just right through the camera. Didn't even try to duck. And
Like
yeah,
nobody would
it's
see
all
him.
good. It's all good.
He's
But-
invisible, people.
Hey, he's Drax. Just don't move.
Oh, yeah, don't move.
That's going to work.
Oh.
This is why we can't have nice things. So yeah, John Wick is my number 5 action movie of the 10s. T. Krala, what is your number 5?
My number 5 for this time period is 2010's Expendables. Now, for me,
a good
I
choice, too.
picked the Expendables because
So much.
Just
you get to
kangaroo
see a
court.
lot of the old and the new action stars in this movie together, all together in one movie, which was pretty awesome. I like the fact that, you know what, if you're looking for a story, it's not rich you're going to really get in this movie. You're going to get a lot of action, and you're going to get a lot of your favorite stars in it. I mean, you get people, Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, Mickey Rourke, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Steve Austin, Stone Cold for the wrestling fans. Of course, you get in this one you get a cameo of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis. So you have a lot of these action guys that are in this movie. And again, like I said, to see these guys in one movie together, which I didn't think that it would ever happen, was pretty awesome for me. So that was my number 5.
So
H. Dresden, what is your number 5?
So I also had John Wick as my number 5, and obviously, the guy that said it first is really good at this. That's why he has a channel where he talks about movies.
I hate when he does that. Like, you got to follow that, right?
But I do have actually something to add.
Oh,
and what I
cool.
would add is that I feel like this is sort of, again, a thematic consideration about our discussion tonight, is that you can make a movie that is gratuitously action focused with very little focus on character development or plot and still do world building. Because you know what?
Right.
John Wick, the world building in that, in terms of the way the assassin system works,
Oh, man.
is as good as anything.
That was
And you know what? It doesn't hit you over the head with it. It doesn't abuse you with it. It doesn't say, "Oh, hey, this is an origin story." No, it does it subtly in the background, and then all of a sudden you realize, "Hey, this is a universe that I'm in. This isn't just a movie," without sacrificing anything. So that's why I like that movie, and that's why I picked it. Also, Keanu Reeves is fucking amazing. So there's also that.
Nice work.
Yeah, the universe and the world building is insane. I forgot to mention that. It feels like a video game universe with like its own secret currency, with like safe houses in the hotel.
Exactly.
It's brilliant the way it builds a world without having to try, and each subsequent movie expands on that.
Without hitting you over the head with it, and
Yes.
without making you like, "Hey, we're gonna make another movie about this part, so pay attention."
It never slows down
Right.
to explain shit. It's just
Exactly,
like,
right.
this is just what's happening.
Exactly.
Go with it.
Exactly. Right.
Awesome choice, guys. Weapon 2.
I agree.
What is your number 4?
Number 4 is Fury, the tank movie.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's good.
Oh shit,
That's
is a good movie.
choice. That's
Damn.
a good
Yeah,
choice.
I forgot about that.
That's a great choice.
That is an interesting movie in where, I like movies that don't try to glamorize war or make it look like pretty and polished. It's about as dirty and grimy a movie you can see about what it was probably really like to be a tanker in World War II, and it's brutal in that you see this kind of dork who comes. He's like a typist or something somewhere, and they've just lost their partner in the tank. So they're coming to. He shows up on the crew, and they're like trying to figure out this guy out, and he's like, I don't know the first thing about a tank, and I was just typing things in the office, and they came and told me I had to come out here. And so the reality is, anybody who's been in the military, even in not war times, but especially in war times, is you rely on these people around you for your life. And if you don't think somebody's up to what has to be done, you're either going to make them be up to it, or they're just not gonna be around. Right. And so, a lot of people will look at how brutal and hard they were on this guy. The most brutal part is Brad Pitt makes him shoot a German in the back of the head. Right. An unarmed guy who's sitting there. You got to prove to us you can kill a German. And some people will go, "Holy cow, that's horrifying." And yeah, in most cases it is horrifying, and even in this case it's horrifying. But they've got to see if this dude. The worst time to figure out a guy can't kill a German is when you're being killed by a bunch of Germans. And so
I've always said that.
you gotta see if this guy can do it. And so when they go into this war, and it's like a one day. This whole movie's like one day,
Yep.
And they come to a point where their tanks broke down, and they see I think it's a battalion of German soldiers coming towards them,
SS.
and they're like, "Should we run away, go hide somewhere so we don't get kilted?" And they go, and the tank commander Brad Pitt goes, "No, I'm sticking here. You guys can go. I understand if you need to leave, but I'm sticking with you." And it seemed like too soon in the story for a new guy to jump up and say, "I'm with you, bro. I'm fighting to the death." Because you're like, just earlier today,
He's weak and he has a high need for affiliation.
you were typing stuff. And so, anyways, it was a pretty quick turn for that character, but they wind up all staying and fighting, and it's bloody and gory, and it's just how horrible and horrific some people who have had to go to war, what they've had to experience, and it's a really good movie.
That was a damn good movie.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
a
a
very
good
good movie. All right. My number 4 action movie is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So, as those of you who may know who have been following this podcast for a while, I love me some Tom Cruise. I love me some Mission Impossibles. I will watch Tom Cruise run knife-handed away from explosions all freaking day. I don't care how crazy he is. That's amazing. He is not going to be happy until he kills himself doing some absurd stunts on a movie. For this movie in particular, he climbed up the side of the world's tallest building in Dubai because he's insane. But no, so after Mission Impossible 2, every single one of these movies is gold. Every single one of these movies just keeps upping the ante in terms of action and stakes and drama. There's actually like an overarching narrative between him and his wife and like trying to have like a normal life versus doing the job that he's supposed to do. It's actually incredibly interesting. It's incredibly engaging. Every action sequence builds a certain level of tension that is like absent from a lot of movies where you legitimately don't know when shit is gonna fail. They mess up every single time, and they have to just roll with it and improvise and do all this crazy shit. And they are so close to dying every single movie. It's always within a couple of seconds they stop the nuclear bomb. And you know what? I know they're going to stop the nuclear bomb. You know they're going to stop the nuclear bomb. I don't care. I'm in it. I'm like, oh my God, is Tom Cruise going to stop the nuclear bomb? Run! Run faster! Run faster! Run on the building! Run! Knife-handed all day. I love the Mission Impossible series. If they keep, I don't care. They need to keep making these movies until Tom Cruise dies. I love the Mission Impossible movies. This, in my humble opinion, is the best one. But they're all very, very good, except for Mission Impossible 2. That movie sucked. T. Crawler!
You sound excited.
I just want him to run!
So my number 4, and so in 2014, what do you get when you combine the premise of Groundhog Day with aliens, mech suits, and Emily Blunt?
You son of a bitch!
Wielding a giant propeller blade sword. You get Edge of Tomorrow, otherwise known as Live, Die, Repeat. This movie was freaking awesome. Like you said, you had Tom Cruise, this guy who's just freaking talking about things. So, but like you said, you got the mech suits, and it's just like they said, the premise of Groundhog's Day. But in this, it's like all action, and you got aliens and freaking just all kinds of sorts of action. And he's like having to relive this over and over and over again, and going further and further because he knows what's coming up. And it's just, I don't know. It's just I watched it. It was just one of those things. Again, I didn't go to the theater to watch this, but when it was on, it was on, and I freaking watched it. I couldn't get away from the freaking TV, so I watched it several times. And it's just one of those movies I fell in love with. So this is my number 4.
Good pick. Spoiler alert. I might have stuff to say about that later.
Good.
H. Dresden.
So I picked RoboCop.
Oh,
nice.
The Joel
Okay.
Kinnaman remake.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I'm not saying you have to defend that, but
The reason I picked the RoboCop is because I feel like if you watch 80s movies, okay, you watch Ghostbusters, you watch RoboCop, what are they about? They're about some non-governmental organization that takes over the business that the government should be doing because we're all suspicious of the government because it's the 80s and we think that, greed is good and, whatever, and that's good, and we're all going to handle our own business, and we don't need anybody to look after us, right? I feel like the remake of RoboCop, what it says is that, that's a really cool story, except that this is the cost of privatization. This is the cost of like non-governmental organizations being in charge of things. Is do you really want private organizations in charge of your security and safety? Because if you do, this is what it looks like. Like, first of all, we're going to take a dude that like barely has any organs left, and we're going to cram him into a robot suit, and he's going to be the guy that's in charge of you. And the part that we're really upset about him is that he still has feelings. So that's a problem, and we're not comfortable with that. So we're going to work really hard, and like the reason he's the good guy is because he's defeated our ability to remove his feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's why I like RoboCop, because it like sort of like okay, let's extrapolate from here. If we had perfect robot soldiers, what would that be like, and would that be good for us? Probably not. That's why I like RoboCop.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
really well put points.
Yeah.
But do you feel like this movie does it better than the original?
I think it does differently. I think it's making a different point.
Well played. I would like to invite you to do some movie reviews with us because that was a very freaking insightful
Nice.
look
Hey,
into
thanks.
that movie.
I just made it up right now as I went along.
Sure, just brag there.
I just want to say, humble brag, thy name is
No,
H.
I'm just
Dresden.
saying that I didn't really prepare that well is my point.
I like to wing it as well. All right.
I never prepare well. Welcome to the
Weapon
club.
2, number 3.
Well done.
So my number 3 is don't look at my list because I'm switching stuff up. I'm changing my mind
I
as I'm
see,
going.
and I
Hey,
see
also,
the arrows
my
switching.
shit is in
I'm
no,
even
no
switching them
particular
now.
order. I'm saying the things in the order that they make the most sense based on what everyone else says. So yeah. Anyway,
So my number 3 is John Wick. And I wasn't here for when Captain Mal did his, and there's really only 2 points because I'm sure you guys both talked great about the movie. The 2 things in this movie that were kind of big to me were in a lot of movies you'll see where a character's wife gets killed, or his family gets killed, or his kids get killed, and that's the catalyst for the whole movie. In this one, it's more layered because the wife dies of natural causes. It's nobody's fault. She just dies. So you have this kind of broken guy who's a retired assassin, which is interesting because when somebody breaks into his house, you'd think that a retired assassin would have a weapon with him when he comes to assess the situation. Anyways, past that it's a guy who's trying to talk himself into going on and figure out how he's going to deal with the loss, and it's super fresh, and his wife, the most wonderful woman apparently that on the face of the earth, thinks ahead of her husband after her death, and she arranges for this dog, the most beautiful little beagle named Daisy, to come into his life, and he's not sure about the whole thing, but you can tell it's the last remnants he has of his wife and her love for him. And then these guys break into his house over a discussion that he didn't want to sell his car and maybe some little slights. And the Russian mafia's son comes in and kills his dog, beats him down. And so then, of course, he's going to start taking care of business. So that was one interesting point. The other one is when you're John Wick and you've killed a whole bunch of people at your house, and the police officer comes, he doesn't go,
fair point.
I see a bunch of dead bodies past you, John. No, he goes, oh, back to working again there, John, huh? And it's, see you later. I mean, there's no, okay, I don't want to get killed by John Wick, but when I get back to the patrol car, I think I'm calling this one in. No, it's like, yeah, business as usual.
I do think that's world building, though. I think that shows you the power and the influence of the Assassin's Guild.
Yes, right?
It is.
And you don't need to see the details.
But-
you can
And
infer
that's the point.
everything from that
Exactly.
scene.
That's my point.
But
exactly.
I find it much easier to understand the world of assassins with assassins. I mean, still the regular people aren't supposed to be involved in the assassins world, right?
No.
And are all the police? Is there an unwritten
No.
rule at every
But if there
police
were vampires,
department?
okay, think about this. If there were vampires, if there were really vampires, like everything would revolve around that, right? Even if it wasn't directly related to that, it'd be like, hey, if you go outside, you're going to get your freaking neck bit and you're going to die. That's the way the Assassin's Guild is. Like, it's a real thing, and everyone needs to be mindful of that, even if it's that's not their focus.
And if I feel like if like your random casual person walking down the street might not be aware of it, but people in law enforcement
They're
might
gonna
be
know.
very well aware of
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
And they might be various levels to which they believe in this
Right,
kind of thing.
exactly.
He might just be one who has witnessed things very firsthand and knows that it's a thing, versus other cops and patrolmen might not
And
be
so,
totally
and so
on board.
in this world, an
AKA Karen Murphy.
assassin can kill anybody. I mean, even his own wife. And as long as he's an assassin, it's like, must be okay.
Okay, fair, but once you start asking questions about anything, it all falls
I hear you.
apart.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like
come on now.
assassins are rich Republicans. Almost weird.
We
They
do
can
not
just do whatever they
choose
want without
We
consideration.
do not choose
Strange.
any political party on this
No,
show.
you're
We're
right. I'm
completely
sorry.
unbiased.
We here at the World's Greatest News and Reviews are completely unbiased, but we stand for H. Dresden to have his own
rich
thoughts and opinions.
People,
That's right.
Rich people can get away with a lot of things, so the assassins can also.
Well, that's just a fact,
irrespective,
so-
irrespective of political party. Of course, I'm sorry. I take it all back.
I think you're right though. Weapon two, like
seen
when
him
the,
kill
when,
himself.
the, when the cops have their muster, they have a bulletin board saying, "Remember, the assassins are okay if they're killing or something." Like there's a
Right.
secret bylaw that they know. Like don't. fuck
They're
with assassins.
subcontractors. Don't ask them questions because it's going to be uncomfortable.
Anyways,
Exactly.
number 3 was John Wick.
Oh, I went down a rabbit hole, huh?
Right? This is why you shouldn't invite me to parties. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're bad at parties.
I've warned you. Repeat.
The more he drinks his cola, his non-alcoholic cola, the more fun this show's gonna get.
H.
Weapon
Dresden,
2,
it
given how long it's taken me to reconcile my age, I can't think I'd forgo it on your account.
H. Dresden, it means you're bad at parties. You're not so good
I'm
outside
not
of
so
parties
good, I'm not so
either.
good outside of parties either. I get
True
it. It's true.
detective. All right,
Ash and aluminum.
my number 3 action movie of this decade, whatever it shall be called, is Live, Die, Repeat. Edge of Tomorrow. They didn't know what to name it because they don't know how to market great movies. So, fun anecdote, myself and producer Harvey actually went to watch this movie opening weekend, and it was beaten out by roughly $15 million opening weekend by The Fault in Our Stars, and that makes me weep for humanity. Because this is one of the best original action sci-fi movies of the last decade or so. Again, you know I am a Tom Cruise fanboy. Negate Tom Cruise, this is just an incredibly fucking interesting story. Like T. Crawler said, it is Groundhog's Day, but with action and aliens. And hey, you know what? If you don't like Tom Cruise, watch him die over and over and over and over and over again.
It's a selling point.
But but you want to talk about a character arc in a movie. Tom Cruise starts as like this military officer who's really never seen any combat, who has no respect for like the soldiers on the ground, who's all about selling the product and like selling, hey, we have this new weapon, this is us, this is that. And from the minute he's told he's going to be on the front line in combat, he does everything in his power to try to get out of it. He's a coward. He's not ashamed of that fact. By the end of this movie, he not only understands, but he respects the soldiers that are on the front line. He understands what it means to be a soldier. He's willing to sacrifice himself for not just the greater good and humanity and all that, but for people and the people that he loves. It is an insane action movie, and I can't emphasize enough. I was thinking about putting this or Oblivion, which is another great sci-fi action movie of the 2000s, starring Tom Cruise. It was very, very difficult for me, but I chose this movie because, honestly, it's just a little bit better in terms of rewatchability.
Tom Cruise groupie.
I swear to God, I want to party with that guy so bad. But Tom Cruise is awesome.
He's waiting in the dressing room.
Edge of Tomorrow, not that kind of party.
In the
Edge of
green
Tomorrow
room.
is cool. That is my number 3 movie. T. Crawler.
All right, my number 3 is 2015's The Man from U.N.C.L.E. This is a Guy Ritchie film.
That's a great movie.
This is it's one of those Cold War type of movies. The criminal organization plans to use nuclear weapons, and technology to upset the fragile balance of the power between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. One of those type of movies. So it's I had Henry Cavill in it. He plays the CIA agent. Then you have the KGB operative who's played by Armie Hammer. So and then of course there's always a girl in between, right? The girl is played by Alicia Vikander, who, if you don't know her by that name, she was also in Tomb Raider. She was also in. Actually, I just recently found out she's part of the new Dark Crystal series on Netflix.
Yeah, voice actor. She's amazing in it.
So
How dare you? She's also an Ex Machina. She's a.
I was gonna bring that up.
Jesus.
Hold-
That should have been number 1.
If you
Sorry.
let me finish.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Holy shit!
I'm overeager.
Okay, that was my Ex Machina, which you introduced me to that movie, which is freaking awesome, by the way.
That's a great movie.
But that's the first place I've seen her. So anyway, so this movie is it's funny because this type of movie, the description I just gave, I recently saw Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers again, and it just makes fun of all these type of movies like this, and it's just so when you hear the Soviets, stealing missiles and all that good stuff, it just it makes me chuckle a little bit. But it wasn't actually. It's a good movie, and I wish there would have been a second one. There were talks about making a second one.
Yeah, but it didn't do well box office wise, which
Right.
is a shame because this is a criminally underrated movie. This is actually a very, very fun action spy movie of this genre.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. That was my number 3.
Sweet. H. Dresden.
The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington.
Good pick.
Yeah, it's on my.
So I feel like it's a movie of very modest aspirations. It sets out a very, very, very small story. It's like there's this one guy who apparently has a very, very specific skill set, which we've heard about before, right? And legitimately, he's just gonna he just doesn't want to get involved in this sort of stuff anymore. But just like the show, he's going to do it because he feels obligated to, because when you have a certain set of abilities, you need to just engage with that, right? And that's his story, which we can get behind. I can get behind personally as a person who thinks that way. But legitimately, what I like about it is the idea that the Equalizer is about equalization. It's about like there's obviously a disparity in some sort of power structure, and he's going to be the guy that fixes it. And we went from being an old white dude to fucking Denzel Washington. And let's talk about it. What are the power structures that need to be displaced in this country? It's way better if Denzel Washington does it than some old white guy. And let's face it, he's a credible, chaotic, neutral character. He's usually the good guy. I mean, besides Fallen, think of a movie where Denzel Washington's a bad guy. You can't think of one, can you? But legitimately.
Training Day.
Okay, Training Day. Fair enough. He's legitimately the bad guy in that one. I take it back. Besides that, it just shows
Can't
that, you know
think of
what?
two.
I probably can't think of another one.
Name another one, damn
Right,
it.
he can carry it, and that's the point. That's
Yes,
the
yes.
point. And you know what? It's well done, and I really appreciate this movie. I think it's wonderful.
That is an amazing fucking movie. Yes.
It really is.
No, it's so good.
Modest Aspirations does exactly what it sets out to do perfectly.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sequel, not so much, but that was a good.
Also
first movie.
true. Also true, which is why I picked the first one.
All right, good pick. Weapon 2, your number 2.
Number 2,
El número dos.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
People stop picking
No.
our movies.
For me, we're gonna in a future podcast here. We're gonna talk in length about Star Wars.
Way in the future. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Don't
Nope.
hold your breath.
I'll change my shirt twice before then.
For me, when this movie came out, it was
At least twice.
Keep your shirts on. It kindled my excitement for Star Wars again. I was excited for him to start this new trilogy. I couldn't wait. It had a lot of things that I really was excited and hoping to see. I was very interested in this new direction. There was some questions that were left really unanswered for me with this first movie when it came out, though I enjoyed it. There was some really significant points. We lose Han Solo in this, and it was really... I really
Spoilers.
loved it. It was interesting, heartbreaking, but I was hoping that in the next one, some of this backstories and universe was going to be built deeper, and it didn't happen. But that still doesn't hurt this movie for me. I was excited for it. I liked it a lot. I'm looking forward to Rise of Skywalker, so hopefully we can figure out a little bit of the stuff that we lost in the Last Jedi, and that is why that movie is number 2 for me.
Lawrence fucking Kasdan is the answer to why that movie is number 2. Like, let's face it. Like, he's written all the good Star Wars movies. Right. Exactly. That's why I'm with you 100%. So glad we're friends with him too.
Weapon 2. I dare say that is a good pick for your number 2 action movie.
Thank you.
Exactly.
What's yours, Captain Mal? Was it Lion King?
No.
It's more of a love story than an action movie.
Okay.
Yeah. My number 2 action movie of
Is?
this decade. Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
What?
Yeah. So, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, I believe, is exactly the reboot / remake / entry point into this franchise that it needed. I believe if you're trying to show somebody, let's say a young millennial that doesn't know any better because it's not their fault, a Star Wars movie, this is a good entry point. This is a good way for them to get into the series, into the franchise. Furthermore, 3 minutes of screen time with Rey, with her not speaking a single word, got me more invested and interested in this character than 3 movies with Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. This movie made me give a shit about her and about Finn and about Poe, and it did a brilliant job of blending the old trilogy in with new characters and new faces that were going to move the franchise forward. You have Han Solo. The amazing part of this movie is Han Solo, who is ever the skeptic, who's been to one side of the galaxy to the other and never seen anything resembling the Force, all of a sudden is the one telling them, oh, it was real. All of it. The Jedi, the Sith, it happened. He's kind of their spiritual guide on this quest. He is murdered by his son, Kylo Ren. Spoilers. And I believe Kylo Ren is a great villain. A lot of people like to say he's your emo, millennial, just overly emotional asshole. And I'm like, no, I don't see him that way at all. He's an insanely powerful Force user who uses his anger and his pain to channel that. The final lightsaber fight between all of them at the end is freaking amazing. Rey calling the lightsaber to herself was a holy shit cheer-worthy moment if I have ever fucking seen one. Visually, it's beautiful. It does a perfect job of blending practical effects and CGI, just like the other J.J. Abrams movies previously mentioned, Star Trek. I loved the fact that he got called upon to write and direct this movie. The second movie, not so much. Ryan Johnson fucked that up. We'll talk about it a little bit in a future podcast, maybe. I don't know. Hey, spoilers, huh? And I am so happy he's coming back to finish off the trilogy. Star Wars The Force Awakens is an amazing movie. It is a great Star Wars movie. It is, dare say, I'm going to throw it out right now, my second favorite Star Wars movie. Period. End of story.
Lawrence Kasdan.
What else did he write, John? I mean, Dresden. John did.
The Empire Strikes Back. You may have heard of it.
That might be my favorite Star Wars
the
movie.
best one.
Okay. T. Crawler, go.
Number 2 is Equalizer. Don't need to.
Ah!
I don't really.
This happens sometimes. This happens. We all think alike.
It's when smart people get together, they think of the same things, as it turns out.
Yeah. So I'm really not going to get into it anymore. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you explained a lot about it, which, you know, it's just an awesome movie. I like the fact that I saw, when I watching the movie, I was surprised to see Chloe Moritz in it. Because
Agreed.
after I loved her in freaking Kick-Ass, like her as Hit Girl, I was like, man, I hope she goes into something else. And to see her in this role was really different. But you know, I like that, and then the fact that he was at the diner reading because he can't sleep at night, you know, and then you know, he befriends her, and then they fuck with his friend, and then all hell breaks loose basically. So
Right.
So yeah, and then all the stuff that Dresden has already said. So Equalizer was my number 2.
And like, you know, as people that put their safety like at rest to protect other people, I think it resonates on that level too, right? I mean, because you
Right.
got to go to the diner because you can't sleep at night.
Right.
So that's relevant. So I'd like to point out again that this is not in merit order. I did not start with the worst and get to the best. These are all great movies, and I could not put them in order. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Nice.
I just watched that
That's
last
a good
fucking
movie.
night. I love that movie.
Forgot about that. That was awesome.
It's such a great movie. Like, it's one of the few movies that I own on all of my mobile devices because if I need to get on a plane or I need to go somewhere, it's a movie that I know I'm always going to enjoy, I'm always going to like, and it's going to be great. And what it's about is about how you can be a complete bitch emotionally and not be able, like, not even be able to take accountability for your own nonsense. But when the right person comes along, they can teach you how to just be better than you are. And that's what it's about, right? It's about like, you know what? Hey, I've been this way, and it's really hard to be better than this. But now I'm going to be better than this because something else out of myself has motivated me to do that, and I have the skills to do it, and that's what makes me like it so much. Is it's like, you know what? It's just about how, do you connect to somebody enough to let go of your own bullshit? And if you do, this is what it looks like. And sometimes there's going to be a cost, and it might make you have a sword fight with like lightsabers made of your own emotions. And that's what I like about it.
Let's talk about how that movie is also like watching a live action fucking video game. Like that movie is so
Yeah.
visually
Exactly.
freaking amazing.
We are Sex Bomber. We are here to watch Scott Pilgrim kick your ass.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly. Right.
I have
exactly.
a question. Were there superheroes in this movie? Because it seemed like
Everybody
there were
seems to
superheroes.
know how to fight. Everybody's a badass. No, and let's talk about, okay,
I think mediocrity is the message, is that everyone has superpowers, so you're not a superhero. That's exactly the opposite
But-
of it. Like, you can be a fake vegan and still have superpowers. That's the issue, right? Exactly.
Well,
You
until-
went to the
until-
vegan academy.
Until
Right.
you lose your vegan status.
Yeah.
Well, right. So the thing is that your own vision of your importance is what moderates your ability to impact the world outside of you.
All right.
So yeah, that's not
Also,
superhero,
let's
that's
talk
mediocre.
about how this movie would never happen today because the cast is insane.
Captain
Right?
America.
So fucking
Everybody
insane.
in
Every-
that movie is somebody.
Everybody
right?
became somebody
Right.
or was somebody. That we're talking. So Michael Cera, we're talking Chris Evans, we're talking Anna Kendrick, we're talking Brie Larson. Freaking, there's so many I can't even name off the
Right,
top of my
and
head.
you can argue that the reason that they all became somebody is that they like proved their marketability in this movie.
Freaking,
Right.
it is so insane good.
And again, thematically, I would like to say that the way you prove your marketability is to make good fucking movies. It doesn't matter whether it's marketable, because like that movie didn't sell nearly as much as
no,
like Avengers.
The Expendables
Right.
beat it opening weekend.
Exactly, and yet here we are. Look at who are the stars that we're talking about tonight because they made a good fucking movie.
Huh.
And weird, isn't
It's
it?
almost like we're talking to Warner Brothers directly.
Curiouser and curiouser. If it was so, it might be, and if it would so, if it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
Holy
To
shit.
quote Lewis Carroll.
Hey,
They
Warner,
invited me. They invited me. I'm here. I'm here by invitation.
Hey, Warner Brothers executives, if you're watching this podcast, and I know you are, why don't you listen to this man?
You shouldn't.
Ever,
Ever.
really.
It's a terrible idea.
Weapon 2, number 1.
All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna talk a little bit on this one for a while.
boy.
Here's the
Oh
thing.
boy, settle in, guys.
One might think, and I might think that Rogue One would have been my favorite movie.
Okay, that's fair.
However, it's not going to be for this thing. And I'm going to tell you about one of the most amazing movies that I've seen. It is, let's set the stage here. It's in America before it was America. It's the wild, savage wilderness that's been not inhabited by anybody but the indigenous people and the wild, savage animals of the continent. And steps in probably one of, if not the toughest
good
human
choice.
being who has ever walked the face of the earth.
Yep.
Now, if you don't believe it, look up Hugh Glass.
Yep.
Yep.
Goddamn.
The true story to this, there's a couple things that are different, but other than that, that story is the truth about this guy. Yep. And he was a trapper and a trader. Now, I'm going to tell you about the things that make this movie amazing to me. The story is a great story. The way it's acted, all that is. But I want you to take a look if you ever watch this movie, and I think you should. If you haven't watched The Revenant, in case I haven't said what movie I'm talking about.
You haven't. We all knew, but you haven't.
You left us guessing.
You
It
better,
must be
you should watch this movie, and I'll tell you why. First off, they spared no expense in trying to capture the immense beauty and just the size and scope of the wild wilderness. And in fact, I don't think they filmed this in the United States. I think they had to go to Canada to try to find these open spaces.
But they earned that Oscar for cinematography.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Fucking gorgeous.
Because
absolutely.
everything is not only set in the best setting possible, they waited till the perfect time of day
Yep.
to get the sun through the trees and the lighting. It was the extent that they went to try to make these sets and these places where they filmed was perfect. And something that I don't know that people notice is, especially at that first scene when they're being attacked by the Indians, the trappers, that's all one single shot. That is not, they don't cut away for anything. From the time they're coming, it's one camera shot onto battles. This guy's getting an axe in his face. This guy's getting shot by arrows. These guys are fighting each other. And another thing that I didn't notice till I was preparing for this one is that after they've gone through all the fighting, everybody's fighting, killing, fighting, all of a sudden, there's an Indian who comes in and shoots a guy in the face with an arrow. He comes in with a tomahawk and hits him in the face, and then that camera goes with the horse rider. So
Yep.
it went from all this moving around to all of a sudden the camera is keeping up to a guy on the horse. Just the technical aspects of trying to do that, because you don't have to do that in a film. No. You can cut away. Here's a scene. Here's a scene. Here's a scene. But the way they choreograph this whole thing to everybody to be doing their part through this, and then into that, and then another scene where all the Indians are chasing Hugh Glass on a horse all by himself, and they're shooting arrows, and he goes off a cliff. That stuff is breathtaking.
I have a small bit of data to add to this, which I think is going to fucking make this so much better, is that scene where they were following the action of the thing was based on the scene from The Shining where they're following the axe when Jack is trying to chop through the door. That was the inspiration for that scene. I read it. I just randomly read an article about it. That's where he got that from.
Damn.
So
Nice.
like legit, that's the real deal.
So now that we get on to the story, the story is, it sets it where they're out there, they're hunting and they're trapping, and then they get attacked. I'm sure there was some bad blood between the indigenous people there and the trappers. They attacked them. Later on, I think they get away on a ship or a boat or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I just saw some parts of it, but they get away. He's out hunting later, and he gets attacked by a bear. That's a key thing. Now, this is not your standard movie bear attack where you see somebody wrestling around with a bear. This bear attack is so brutal and so continuous, and it stops, and you think, oh, thank goodness. I think it's, oh, no, he's coming back for more. And this thing goes on to where you feel like you are exhausted, where you feel like you don't know if you can continue to watch this movie. And you know, he in real life, he had basically got the lacerations on his back went all the way down to his rib cage. And so he's survives the bear attack. They bandage him up. He can't walk. He can't do anything, but he's very valuable to the trapping company. So they say, we're going to take, the bosses say, you got to take this guy who can't walk and has to be carried on a stretcher with you. They take him till they're carrying him around. They get to where they just don't even know if he's going to live. They can't continue to carry him. They take some volunteers that they're going to say, hey, can you stick around with him and hang out with him? We think he's going to die, and if he dies, bury him, and then he can catch up to us. His son in the movie, which in the real life wasn't really a part of this, but it's super important to the plot of this movie, sees the guy, the Fitzgerald, the bad guy in this movie, decide, hey, I'm going to have a one-way conversation with you, Hugh Glass. I'll tell you what, if you want me to kill you and just get this over with, just blink. All I need to do is see you blink. I'm going to stay here until, just blink. I just need to see you blink. We all know that sometimes we need to blink, right? He doesn't. And he goes, I'm just going to kill you anyway.
Really hard.
And so he starts to try to kill him. His son sees it. He starts trying to scream and yell for the other guy that was with him and get some help. He kills Hugh Glass's son. And he can't do anything about it. He's immobile. He can't do a single thing. He can't even talk. They leave him in a shallow grave of dirt and take off. And so he decides that he is going to get revenge on this guy. And he crawls for miles and miles and miles and builds a raft and continues to follow this guy until he finally finds him. And when they get to the point where they're fighting, it's the most brutal, gritty fight you could imagine, where they're just coming at each other, swinging a tomahawk, stabbing with a knife, cuts his guy's fingers off, gets stabbed in the hand. It gets to where they're crawling over each other, just crawling against the ground, just trying to stab and fight and stab and fight to where he gets to where he can almost kill the guy. I think this is the tribe of Indians that had followed them all along from when this guy had burned their village or something, and he sees them, they're waiting. He just says, okay, you guys can have him, and floats them down the river after him. And of course they take his scalp and everything. But for all the reasons, I was just amazed at this movie, how beautiful it was. The story of this guy is super interesting. It's real, true life story. Yeah. The only things that are actually different in it is that he, I think that I don't know if he ever had a son, but he didn't have a son in this thing. So basically the revenge was, you've left me for dead, and so I'm going to find you. And the other sad thing that happens at the end of this is Hugh Glass never gets his revenge, because when he finally gets to where this guy is, after letting maggots eat all the dead skin off his back, dead flesh off his back, so he can keep from getting gangrene, and crawling all this way and fighting to find this guy, he finds out he's joined the army. And the army says, sorry, you can't kill our property or we'll kill you. But Hugh Glass says to him, you better stay in the army the rest of your life, because if you ever leave the army, I'm going to kill you. And that's The Revenant.
That is a great pick, and that is a great movie. Well played, Weapon 2.
I can't believe I didn't even consider that movie. That's a great movie.
Honestly, that movie got me to watch Frontier on Netflix.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Frontier happened before. The stuff in Frontier happened before, but it's same, pretty much the same premise. But yeah.
Nice. Great pick, Weapon 2.
Thank you.
And my number one movie of the 2010-2019 decade is Inception. Oh. So Christopher Nolan, I dare say, might be my favorite director. I pretty much love every single movie he's ever put out. And Inception, I think, is, this side of the Dark Knight, his masterpiece. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Ellen Page, Michael Caine, Cillian Murphy. Just it is legitimately an all-star cast, and this is a trippy, mind-bending, holy shit movie. The visuals in this are beyond amazing. This movie just keeps getting deeper and more engrossing as it continues to go on. The actions get more over the top and more ridiculous. Seriously, this is a movie that I would show to anybody. And it's a little bit of a slow burn to start, but I really feel if you give it the time to develop, this movie is very, very, very good. It is beyond amazing, and it is my number one movie of this decade. T. Crowder.
My number one is John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. That's my number one.
Wow. Over 1 and 2.
Yeah, because well,
No, that's why.
here's my reason. Like, I was gonna pick. One was gonna be somewhere in my top 5, but I was like, you know what? I'm sure somebody out of us are gonna pick that movie. 'Cause it's an
Or
awesome
all
movie.
of us.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie. You know, and for all the reasons you guys have already explained. Parabellum for me is just how the story continues and like Dresden had
That
said
guy. It's Dresden.
earlier.
Me. Hi.
How he had
Good
said
to meet
earlier,
you.
how it already
Teeth
builds,
color.
it starts to build a universe without having to over-explain it. and
It
everything.
does so
This
well.
third movie, it's more of that, and it shows more of the respect that everybody has for him. He has to dig deep for big favors that are owed to him from people as he's trying to get away from this $14 million, price tag on his head. And it shows all like I said, he has to go deep. He has to you owe me this favor from whatever time. And it just shows all the respect. There's several times he would have gotten killed.
Yeah.
But people, they respect him that much where they stop and wait for him to catch his breath or wait for him to get up. Like, okay, ready? Let's go.
It's
And
an
they
honor,
just
Mr. Wick.
Right. Those are those awesome moments where like, fuck, like this guy he's that awesome. Like, so.
And I'll say John Wick Chapter 3 did a thing that not a lot of movies do, wherein it was a great third part of a trilogy. Like, I know there's going to be more.
Right,
But
right.
I literally, depending on what you think the best one is, 1, 2, and 3,
Right.
all great movies.
I know it
It's
hasn't slowed
insane.
down.
That's so hard to do.
Right, and that's exactly, and it hasn't slowed down. It's been they continue to be awesome, and I'm so looking forward for the next one. So yeah, that was my number one.
Nice. H. Dresden.
So again, my movies were not ranked in order because I was incapable of doing that because I'm a failure. So, but the last movie I want to talk about is Man of Tai Chi, which is also a Keanu Reeves movie. And so the thing I like about Man of Tai Chi is it's fairly small budget. I mean, like it looks pretty, it looks good. It's like it holds together pretty well. You can watch it on TV and not feel like it's low budget. But the thing that appeals to me about it is it's very much like a Karate Kid or like a similar storyline where like a character that is intrinsically pure and good and everything that's wonderful about them, all of a sudden they find a darker path, which I mean sounds a lot like Star Wars. I don't know if you guys have heard of that story before.
Spoilers.
Like where if you go like down the quick and easy route, all of a sudden like you do really well, but then all of a sudden there are consequences that maybe you didn't think that you would run into, and that's the plot of it. And then all of a sudden Keanu Reeves is the bad guy, and like he's gonna hold you accountable for your decisions. And I think that that's wonderful and fantastic. And like he's a way better bad guy because like let's face it, Keanu Reeves can't act. I mean like he's always the same person, and I love him for it, and he's fantastic. But like it's way better if he's just pretends to be amoral as opposed to pretending to be moral, because if he pretends to be moral, he's not very good at it. So like seriously, he's like, I'm gonna eat your liver, and that's what's gonna happen because like you're not making money for me anymore. And that's the plot of the movie. And like legitimately, it's about can you transcend the fact that you've made bad decisions to get back to your true self and be who you are or not. And like haven't we all been in that situation? So that's what I love about that movie.
What is this called?
It's Man of Tai Chi. Man of Tai Chi.
Interesting. I will definitely
Yep.
check this out.
And
Never
so
heard of
like
it.
it's like basically the Tai Chi. Like so, I took Tai Chi in college, and my teacher was like, you know what? Like 1 year Tai Chi versus Shaolin Long Fist, no good. 10 years Tai Chi versus Shaolin Long Fist, very good. So like that's exactly what it is. It's like if you train in this long enough, you're gonna do fine. But like once you sacrifice the tranquility that art brings with you, well, then what are you if that's been your identity thus far? And it's really well done. And I think like Keanu Reeves is obviously he's a kung fu guy. Like I mean he trained in the Matrix and he's been training since then. And so like he gets the ideas that are at stake here, and like he's willing to be in that movie, and I think it's super cool.
Nice.
Quick question for you guys. Just since everybody likes Keanu Reeves in these action movies that we've brought up, what character would you like Keanu Reeves to portray in the Marvel universe?
My dad.
No death in description of why. Just who would you like as?
That is a loaded question, sir.
Oh.
Because I would love him to be in the Marvel Universe, and I know this is a rumor that's floating around that he's in talks to do something.
Yeah. Something we want to come back
Weapon
to?
2?
I don't know.
This would have been a good
I guess
segment in the new segment, T-Crawler.
I feel like he could
We all
be.
talked about
He could be like the one above or beyonder, or like some of those people that are just completely detached.
Yes, because
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 he-
how stoic he is. and
Right,
just-
he doesn't attach emotionally to any of his roles,
Yes.
obviously.
He's a one-trick pony, but that trick's pretty good. And that would
Exactly
be
like
very
Roland
good.
of,
Yes.
of the Dark Tower. Yes, absolutely. But yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah, the one above all.
Yep,
That's what it-
absolutely.
yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep. I'd be down with that.
No.
Okay. What? No, we're going to do our internet top list.
All right.
Here we go.
All right, he doesn't have We're doing top list internet. Go.
This is what the internet said. It said number 1, Mad Max Fury Road was on 6 lists of the, I think 7 or 8 I put
I
together.
don't really care for that movie.
I hear you. Number 2 was Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was on 4 lists.
Okay.
Number 3 was Inception, which was on 3 lists.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Number 4 was The Raid, which was on 2
Never
lists.
seen
That's
it.
a good movie.
I hear that's good.
You know what? It's one of those ones that you could miss. It was like Collateral back in the day. Like you could miss it. but it's
Collateral's so fucking good.
Right, seriously. I would have put that in my list, except that it came out before 2010.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even do an honorable mention because it was like 2004. so it was too late.
So all the rest of these were on 2 of the lists, but I just put them in order about how far up the list they were. The next one's Dunkirk.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The next one's Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
The
That's a
next
good one.
one's Baby Driver.
Okay. No, that was pretty
Didn't
good.
see that one.
That's
Didn't
pretty
see
good.
it. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about it.
either.
The next one was Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tom Cruise people.
I know an asshole like that. It's cool.
Number 9 was John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 10 was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Yeah,
yep,
Mission
yep.
Impossible people.
Yep.
See, they're out there. It's not just me. It's not
Yep.
just me. Okay, so that wraps up our top 5 of this respective decade. Weapon 2. What are we gonna do now?
Time for this.
Or
That.
oh shit, we never tell the guest.
John,
Hey,
you've
you're
got to
supposed
say
yeah.
yeah at the end. Okay, ready?
when you're prompted.
Here we go.
Okay.
So we're going to do this.
Or
That.
Now.
yeah, no,
Okay, no, you can say
Fuck it up
now.
every time. That's
But we
fine.
gotta
Yeah,
get
do now.
faster
Yeah,
every
that
time.
works.
This.
Okay. Or
That.
Now.
This.
or
That.
That.
This.
or
That.
What am I supposed
This.
to
we're
say?
never gonna get it.
You've
or.
never told me what to say.
We
Tell me what
said
to say.
yeah or now.
Yeah.
Just say something. Say a word. Whatever comes to mind. Go.
Okay.
But keep saying the same word
Go,
over
go, go,
again.
go, go,
This.
go. Or
That.
son of a bitch.
We're done. We're done. Okay, here we go.
All right. So John, do you
so
or
much pressure.
Dresden? Do you understand what we're about to do?
I think so.
Okay. Go.
Okay.
Here we go. This was a this or that was provided either by Venom or T-Crawler via T-Crawler.
A traitorous bastard Venom.
Yeah, here we go. But
know,
we're not going to
people
get to the one in question we haven't got to yet.
Right, exactly.
This one says, would you rather have every movie spoiled for you right before you watch it, or would you rather have to watch every movie on a treadmill going at a moderate speed?
Moderate speed, because you know what? Even like the thing is, they're all going to be spoiled anyway. Let's face it, because most of them are terrible. At least you're going to have cardio. That's my thought. Anyway.
I concur because the very few
Right,
movies that I
exactly.
would actually care about, I don't want to have spoiled. And
Right.
let's face it, I got to up my cardio game. So yeah, treadmill.
That's what I'm talking about.
How about you, T-Crawler?
Yeah, what do you think?
I feel like any opinion
Treadmill?
by this point
How
is
about you,
wrong.
Harvey?
Yeah. Yell it out.
Never mind.
They want to Wongo. They
Spoilers.
Number 2, I believe this is a, let's see. This was another one offered by that team.
Team is a strong word.
You are being offered the option to never feel pain again. But if you choose this option, you could never taste anything ever again. Would you choose this or remain as you are?
I would remain as I am because, like, as much as people like to be like, "Hey, I would love to never feel pain," you need to feel pain because you could accidentally kill yourself.
To let
if
you know
don't
you're
feel pain.
alive.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I was talking emotional pain because I need that in my life.
Pain's pain. It could be
I need the
physical or emotional.
No,
pain.
you need to feel feel pain to know you're hurting yourself. So I.
But if you
I would-
don't feel the pain, you don't taste anything, huh?
Yeah.
That's trade off.
As my namesake has said, that pain is for the living, and the only people that don't feel pain are the people that have already died. So yes, I'll
we
take the
go.
pain.
Yep.
I need my pain, to quote Captain Kirk from Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country.
How about you, Harvey? Harvey? Pain's life. He's gonna. Okay, and I agree. I'm taking
Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is trying to sell you something.
Okay, the next three are all mine.
Princess Bride.
This is my intellectual property.
These are all Weapon 2 originals.
Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
You are a celestial type character in the Marvel Universe. Wow. You approach the Earth with the choice to set a course of action that would result in the creation of many super beings on the planet, or you can rid the Earth of all disease so that no one ever gets sick. Which do you choose?
Superpower beings, fuck them. Sorry, that's just me.
I'm saying superpowered beings, and I can tell you why in a little bit.
Why?
Because if nobody gets sick, then people don't die, and we hasten our overpopulation of this planet.
I concur.
That's what I was
What do you
going
guys think?
Superpower beings.
Yeah,
Dresden?
superpowered beings.
So what you're saying is that like an unjust authoritarian superpowered class is better than natural selection.
Yes, if
I'm just
the one in
curious.
control.
Like,
yes.
are you sort of like are you actually a capitalist, or you just pretend to be one? Because I'm curious. like suddenly, like you say on one level that you're willing to let things naturally select themselves, but on the other, you're saying like, oh, there should be superpowered people that I agree with. That should
in
be
this
in charge of
specific
things.
scenario, yes, that is exactly.
I'm
it.
a capitalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to make sure that you're clear about what you're saying.
No, I am
Very
clear
clear
about what I'm
I'm
saying.
saying.
What about
you-
you, John?
no, but
What are you
did
saying?
you
John?
answer? You haven't
What are you
answered yet.
saying?
I'm not saying
Dresden?
anything.
No,
at
you
all.
have to answer the question. Answer the question.
I would say that the thing that I would like select against is like I would eliminate disease, because I would be able to do research to say what effect that's going to have. Whereas if I introduce superpowered people, like it's just like it's Watchmen all of a sudden, like Quest Custodia es Custodias, like what happens? Do you know what I'm saying? Who watches the Watchmen? So,
You're right,
yeah.
because we need more people to grind into soylent grain. So you're right. Okay, go, John.
You know what? You're right. What we need is a bunch of people that are a lot more powerful than everyone else, because that tends to go really well.
Gotcha.
That's been my
How
observation.
about you, Harvey?
It's gonna be like the boys, so I'm gonna have to go with eradicating disease.
Sounds good.
You bitch.
Okay,
I just want to do whatever the fuck I want.
Number
Well,
4.
if I get superpowers, then my story changes.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, here we go. Well, some of these questions might help you get there. Hold on. Number 4.
Holding on.
You can travel 10,000 years into the past and will be allowed to pack a large cargo shipping container like the ones used on ships and trains, as full as you can with anything from this time period that you currently have access to, and take it with you.
Sure.
Or you can travel 10,000 years into the future with nothing. You are guaranteed that the Earth still exists and that there is an advanced civilization. The world is not lawless, post-apocalyptic wasteland. Do you go to the past or the future?
I'm going to go future. And the thing that sold that to me is that things I currently have access to. I don't know, a lot of things that I currently have access to is going to help me shape the world in the image that I want 10,000 years ago. Versus future, super advanced like society, I kind of just want to see what that's like. So that's what I'm going to do. T. Crowley?
Yeah, I don't see going back in the past really good for me or my people. So
10,000 years? No, that's a long. That's
That's a long
before
time
some
ago.
shit went down. So
that's true.
Right. Unless you can reverse history, it's not going to go well for you. I get it.
You're-
Absolutely. Totally. Right. That's a lot to expect.
Future
from
for
anybody.
me.
Right,
This is
exactly.
very, very primitive people. You're gonna see.
you're never big on going back in the past, though. I get it.
Never.
I get it.
No. Like, let's go back to the 1890s. Like, no,
Nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
How about you, H. Dresden?
So
Wizard for hire?
I would like to think that, obviously, like the third law of magic tells you you can't like swim against the currents of time. But I would like to think that I could change the past for the better. But I'm not going to try to do it, because then I'd probably just disappear like Marty McFly in my prom picture. Like all of a sudden my legs are missing, and I'm feeling numb and unclear about what to do with myself. So yeah, I'll go for the future. That's my plan.
Nice. Okay.
How about you, Harvey?
I'm gonna go with past to be king.
I might do the same thing. I might go to the past and rule the world.
You going to the past also? Yeah. You say okay.
Number 5. This is a long one, so pay attention, kids.
All right, we're settled.
All right, party people. All parts of the world are being attacked on a regular basis by kaiju. All able-bodied people are being called upon to assist in defending the Earth from the giant creatures. Mm-hmm. You have to choose between being infused with a serum that will make you a 70-foot giant who physically fights the monsters. Both men and women have chosen this option, though there are very few. As one of these giant defenders, you are treated as a celebrity and highly regarded for your service to the planet for the rest of your life. The process is permanent and cannot be reversed. And the fighting is dangerous, and many people have been killed in by kaiju in a battle. Or the creation of the serum requires donors that spend 5 years in a laboratory with very limited human contact. Your DNA cells are harvested as the building blocks for the giant serum that is used. After the 5-year period, you are returned to your normal life and have been gone for 5 years. And to your normal life having been gone for 5 years. There's very limited adverse physical effects for this process. Which would you choose?
Set it up, bro. I'm fighting some fucking monsters. Set it up! Set it up! I'm fighting some kaiju. Fuck, set it up! No! Set it up! I'm fighting the kaiju. Motherfucker, set it up!
Okay.
Set it up. Set it up.
T-Crawler.
Just set it up.
Not as excited. This guy.
He's going to set it up.
Set it up.
Set it up.
All right.
I'm with him, goddammit. Set it up. Yeah, set it up.
For real, though, I'm going to fight the
I'm fighting
kaiju.
the kaiju, yeah.
Okay.
This question is essentially if you're sitting in a coffee shop against the wall because you're a safety first kind of person and you see things go badly, are you going to sit there and be quiet and like hope that you can donate to the recapitulation efforts, or are you going to just like go and fucking kill the guy as best you can? And like I think probably most people at this table know what their option is, and mine is obviously the latter also.
So I love how smart H. Dresden is, and this is why I wanted him on the show. I'm going to translate for you simpletons. Set it up! Yeah. He said set it up.
I did say that.
I want to be a giant, and I want to fight giant monsters.
I feel like
That's
most
all
people
I
at
have
this
to
table,
say.
yes,
Giant monsters fighting every day.
And
What about you?
More monsters.
And there will be mockery involved.
At this,
once
yeah,
you
especially if we
lose.
win. We're going to talk all the shit.
Exactly.
Everyone at this
Harvey?
table, we would fight the monsters.
Exactly.
What?
Harvey, they can manufacture you a giant sword.
Fuck yes.
Okay.
Form blazing sword.
How skilled are you at wielding this giant sword? Probably not very, but that's okay.
It doesn't matter. It's a giant sword.
All right, that's it. Wraps it up.
This is a PG-13 show, folks, or I have some shit to say. All right.
Right? I was thinking
You were thinking the same thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for the this or that?
Yes,
Is
yes,
that it?
sir.
All right.
I feel
So,
satisfied.
as always, Weapon 2, why don't you plug our contest?
H. Dresden's been satisfied. I don't know if you heard that.
Does he say
That's
he's
what he
satisfied?
said. He
I
said
mean,
he's
that's
been satisfied.
That's what we
Okay.
strive for.
All right,
I want that
folks.
to be known.
Folks, we're on a mission.
What's our mission?
This mission entails building our subscribership and just in giving people a better life and happiness. I mean, who doesn't want that to happen? So the way people do it in different ways, but the way we're doing it is we want you to enjoy and impart the enjoyment of this podcast on others. And the way we want you to do this, and you're going to get free stuff too. I just don't want to throw that in there too. And the way you're going to get free stuff is you're going to comment on the section in the YouTube episode of this podcast, so we know who you are, and we're going to put your name. Put your name in there so we know who you are. And then after that, we want you to what do we want them to do? Share
the podcast.
Share the podcast.
Share it with some friends.
We want you to
On all your social medias.
Or enemies.
share this giveaway information that we're going to be giving to you, and I'm going to post it again like I do every month, so you know how to do this, and share that to other people so they can also subscribe and get free stuff. Because where are we at now? We're pushing
at a $140. Are we at a $144?
Oh, we're over that, bro.
We're
over that.
We're 144.
When we get to 200, we're going to get together as a team, as a superhero team.
And pack that.
There's going to be this
There's
box.
going to be a box, you see.
When we start, the box will be empty.
It's not how it's going to stay, though.
No, what we're going to do
I guess
is
we'll
there
see.
going to be stuff And we're going to take those things. We're going to put them in the box.
Put them in the box.
So the things we're going to put in there.
box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Well,
If you're a millennial, you
Yeah.
won't get the joke.
you know what's going to be in the box? There's going to be a Funko Pop.
A Funko, probably a
Also,
couple.
Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
There's going to be.
That's gonna be fine.
There's going to be not Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Unconfirmed.
What did I
She's
show
like
up for?
Funko
What did I
Pop.
show up for? And what did I show up for?
There's not going to be any Pepper Potts head in the box. But what there's going to be is some comic books.
Several comic books.
There's going to be an original drawing by me. You tell me the character you want. I'm going to draw it for you. I'm going to put it in there. You know what I'm going to throw in?
What are you going to throw in Weapon 2?
I have some Christmas cards that I have
some
left
Christmas
over.
cards?
I'm going to throw in a shitload of Christmas cards. It might not be
cards are on
Christmas
point.
when we do this, but you're going to get some Christmas
I
cards.
mean, it's
for
probably going to
following
be like
Christmas.
June, but have fun with that Christmas card. What else are you going to throw in that box?
Well, we're going to put in some of our logo T-shirts. that look just like
TWG.
this, TWG.
Who drew this logo? Is it the sexy man to my right?
Can I give a shout out to the design skills of the people that are in charge of this? Because like I'm obviously very selective about things because I'm an elitist asshole. But I would like to point out that I have tattoos on my flesh that were drawn by the same person that will be drawing your shirt.
An original
If you win,
piece of
if
art.
you're a winner,
Nice.
if you're a winner, and that's up to you to decide, like how much of a winner.
That
you
is
wanna
an
be.
endorsement if I've ever heard
I'm
one.
just saying, it's up to you how much of a winner you want to be, and so work it out.
And everybody
That's all.
wants to be a winner, and I
Right,
want you all to
exactly.
be winners.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do? Have we covered everything we're putting in the
We're
box?
going to put a bunch of random shit in there, too.
Yeah.
Just random
We're gonna
fun
come up with
things
other
that
stuff.
we
Seriously.
find.
We're going to put
Yeah.
a lot of things. There might be no end to the amount of items
be all
that
kinds
we
of-
put
There'll
in
be
this
an
box.
end eventually. It might not be
Yes.
one you
Yes.
want.
There's
but
gonna
it'll
be a
there will be an end.
There
I'll
will
tell
be
you-
an autographed photo of the TWG crew.
That's right.
That's going to be worth
Right.
lots of...
I'll tell you
I'm
one
gonna
thing
wanna
that's
say
for
money.
sure.
Embarrassment.
When the box is full, we'll stop putting in it stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get
Speak
all the
for
things.
yourself.
Okay. So
All right.
I think that's about it for the giveaway.
If you are curious as to the type of things you might get in this giveaway, check out the video that we posted on the YouTube. It's called What's in the Box, where you can see the first lucky winner who received her box after the 100th subscriber giveaway. And you'll see that, yeah, you know what? We had loads of fun packing that box. She had loads of fun accepting the gifts in said box. And you will get the very same opportunity. We're going to mix it up a little bit. And hey, you know what? Who doesn't like free shit? Do you like free shit? I like free shit.
I
You
like
know
free
what?
stuff.
Free shit is the best kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Who
As an
wouldn't?
outsider perspective, I would also I'd encourage you to consider like what happened to the curious cat and what happened to him, and then think about that. So I'm just saying, it might not go as well as you think it's gonna, but if you're willing to take the risk, it might be worth it. It might be.
It'll go well. Don't listen to him.
He's a nihilist.
It'll go great. Fucking nihilist. It'll
I'm
go
just
great.
saying.
But hey, check it out.
Consider the options.
Comments on this podcast. Share this podcast. Subscribe to the channel.
Share the
Give us
giveaway.
a thumbs up. Like our Facebook page. Like our Instagram page. Like our channel. You know what? Because the reason we do this is for you guys. We have a great time doing this. And you know what? If I had 1 subscriber on this channel, I feel like we'd still all do it. But we want to grow our fan base. We want to spread the word. And we need you guys to help us do that. We appreciate the likes, the views, the comments, the subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Comment below. Let us know things you want us to talk about. Let us know anything that you would like us to tweak, or any kind of feedback you have. We very much appreciate, and we appreciate you watching this.
One other thing I'd like to add. I'm sorry not to interrupt.
No,
you.
you're good.
Go ahead and also, if you hear us on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, because that helps.
Yeah,
other
rate
people,
us, rate us, totally.
and helps other people to find
5 stars.
for us to put us out there. So
Yeah.
we really appreciate that.
And that's the thing. So like, give
5
it. So
stars.
you give us a 5-star rating. You don't have to be honest. It's cool. Just lie. Give us 5 stars, huh? And that's the thing. So if
I would give you 5 stars.
wherever you're
And,
listening.
and don't hold me against them because, like, really, they only invited me because they feel bad for me. So it's fine.
That's true.
Like, seriously.
We're a
like,
charitable-
I'm just saying.
Anybody out there that
Right.
wants me to give them 5 stars, I'd be glad to.
So check us out. So I don't know how you're listening to us, but we are on the YouTubes. You can watch the actual video of this 2-bit operation go down. It's really sad, if I'm being totally honest. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, on Spotify, and on Spreaker. Hopefully we'll be coming to more platforms soon. Dresden, have you had a good time?
You know what? I've had so much better a time than even I thought was possible, and I was expecting a lot. So let me tell you what, it's gone well.
That's awesome.
You know what? Just I get to talk to smart people about smart shit in front of a camera, and like it's nobody's fault, but you know we're all here. It's fine. It's gonna be great.
Oh wow.
Well, Dresden, thank you for coming on.
Exactly. It's a natural consequence. Just don't
I-
hold anybody accountable. It's gonna be
I
fine.
dare say, I'm going to look ahead in my crystal ball and dare say you might come back. I dare say it might be pretty soon. I think you're going to be back
You
really
didn't
quickly.
even invite me yet, sir.
Hey, do you want to come back?
Sure.
Would you be Nick, would you be interested in doing an all Star Wars themed podcast?
Oh my
I
God,
mean, if
really?
You're gonna twist my arm.
I mean, I feel like this might be super cool and super fun.
Whatever.
Hey,
Fine.
Sounds fun to me.
spoiler alert, stay tuned. And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode of the world's greatest news and reviews. If you've enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.
Fuego!
Huzzah!